Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
That's your knowing or mine.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing, nutters, messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 514th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me on the call, we have Ozzy Smith and Andy Patterson going live on YouTube from 8 o'clock every Sunday evening. The Patreon RSS feed updates shortly after the show concludes. Hello to everyone listening through the week on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Don't forget to leave a review on the podcast player of your choice throughout the entire month of March. Nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable. Shout out to everybody in the chat. They're all in there, tucked in, nutters alike. We'll get to you shortly and give you a shout out. We'll also be going on to the Liverpool card a little bit later on in the zone. That was Eddie Hearn. Boxer over in France, in Paris. Tony Yoka suffering another L. A bit of women's action there as well. But there is only one place to start this weekend. There's only one place to start, and that is over in Australia. The Kudos Bank Arena, Sydney Olympic Park. Kudos to Tszyu getting the knockout win over Tony Harrison. It says on BoxRec, 12th round knockout by the looks of it. I think they got it wrong there. It was around the 9th from what I saw. And I don't know what you made of the performance, but I think that Tszyu showed that he's definitely learned from previous fights. The Terrell Gosha fight, for example. Early on, he was quite tentative, stalking, throwing very little. Tony Harrison's jab was quite sharp, not really landing an awful lot, but it landed enough to blemish and kind of scuff Tszyu's cheek a little bit and his eye. Tszyu showed he's an intelligent fighter who can make adjustments. As soon as he started growing in confidence, his own jab came out, the left hook came into play, let go with a vicious little right uppercut whenever Harrison missed with his right hand. An intelligent, thinking performance from Tszyu. Just the cream on top, the cherry on top of the cake was getting Harrison out of there as well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He got the stoppage. We did mention last week though, sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get with Harrison. I was mentioning, we were talking about it obviously off air, in terms of what it does in terms of Tszyu's profile. I think it will do a wee bit for him because obviously it's primetime American TV. They've got the American TV slot there as well. You got Charlo in the studio talking about the fight. But ultimately, I was disappointed in Harrison again, because obviously the guy talks so well. He can talk up a fight well, and he didn't do nothing for me. As I've said to you guys, if the stats are right, and I don't put a lot of stock in them, but according up to about round 6 and 7, I think Harrison through each round had only landed single-digit punches. I think the first round, apparently they only clocked two punches landed. As you mentioned, the jab, maybe that was the 2 shots because it was all he was kind of really thrown. Couple of right hands here and there, obviously, but he spent a lot of it on the back foot. Obviously, he's having to kind of deal with the much aggressive, hyper-aggressive Tszyu in times that apply good pressure. Steady pressure, maybe educated with it as well a little bit, and landed the flusher. Certainly, obviously the flusher punches. I was going to say fancy, but I wouldn't say fancy because he is quite textbook with his shots. I think one thing with Tszyu, what I noticed about him is he kind of sometimes squares up, so maybe it affects his balance a little bit. Maybe doesn't get the full torque in his shots, but he was basically blasting through Harrison by about the 5th round. Obviously, everybody questions his gas tank. Even the commentary were mentioning it there last night as well. It was around about 6th and 7th. This is usually around about the time he starts to unravel. And in the end, it was pretty brutal. Obviously, the uppercuts, the body shots. I think it was 3, 4, 5 right uppercuts. I think he landed. Then obviously twisting the neck in the manner what he did. It was funny seeing the meme as well, seeing Harrison's head resting on the top rope saying, "Let me take a nap here for a second here." But
he gets knocked out well, doesn't he? I remember
a
few years ago somebody did a "Who Gets Knocked Out the Best" kind of compilation on Twitter, and Amir Khan obviously was way up there. Can't remember the others, but Harrison, he gets knocked out well. That head kind of bobbles sort of side to side really easily.
I got twatted about there a bit there last night. And my other gripe would be as well, apart from Harrison's performance as such, would be the judges' scorecards, which I think were surprisingly, at least considering what we saw in France here last night, were surprisingly a bit close. I don't know how many rounds you guys gave Harrison. You'd be hard pressed to give him much, to be fair. I think 1, 2 at the absolute tops. But 77, 75 across the board, I think is a tad close. Like I think Tszyu was pretty wide in front at that point. But anyways, no gripe about that. End of the day, he's remained active. He could have easily sat on the fence, done his profile, no harm whatsoever. Got the knockout. That's always good. And it really does enhance the Charlo fight a wee bit as well, because obviously, as I say, he's done it on primetime American television, looked good doing it. But ultimately, as well, as if you want to pick holes, you've got to say the defence is a wee bit leaky, squares up a little bit from time to time. And Harrison, obviously, his performance again, after talking up such a good fight and that. But fair play to Tszyu, good pressure, decent power, and on he goes. And as I say, his profile will certainly be enhanced a little bit of it as well.
Just quickly, Andy, before we bring Ozzy in, actually talking about the next fight, obviously Charlo, he shows no fear of Charlo whatsoever. I was interested to see how he would approach the post-fight interview. It was an interesting and rather strange dynamic, I thought, the way he approached the post-fight interview. The whole "what's my motherfucking name" routine, and he's done that before in fights. I remember in one of his earlier fights, at least one of them, they said to him afterwards, and he started going, "Tim, my name's Tim, not Costa, it's Tim." These issues are obviously something that's bugging him, the comparisons to his father, who was a fantastic fighter. His father doesn't attend his fights. They said on the commentary last night he was only at his debut. He's never been since. Obviously, there's no beef between the two of them. They're perfectly friendly. Costa was a fantastic fighter. I just thought, I don't know, that didn't really sit right with me. I mean, I know we're a family show and everything. I don't care about the swearing and all that type of bollocks, but doing it once, fair enough, but then he kept on doing it.
4 or 5 times, yeah.
That didn't sit right with me. I thought that was a bit of a strange way of approaching it. So I was hoping he would start calling out Charlo and telling him he was going to take his head off or something. But interesting that he went that route is what I'm trying to say, in such a big stage with America listening. I thought it was odd.
I don't know, mate. I mean, I didn't follow much of the the press that he gets. I don't know if he's just getting a lot of maybe just getting compared to the old man a bit too much. You've mentioned some scenarios there where he's actually kind of try to be his own man. I think I remember as well. He says, my name's Tim, the son. I'm not my dad.
Yes.
So he's really trying to be his own man, so to speak. You're right. It's kind of odd to me in that as well that his dad's never at any of his fights. Because obviously the old man's been in Russia a fair bit. He does a bit of training with some fighters in Russia. There was some sort of family medical emergency there last night. That's the reason why Kostya wasn't there. He was meant to be there according to the broadcast. I don't know. And as for his post-fight stuff, I don't know, mate. I know Terry Atlas took issue with it, but at the end of the day, we're watching two guys trying to legally, put the other one in the hospital by physical violence. What's a few swear words at the end of the day,
No, it's not so much the swear words. Obviously, I was only joking about that, but it was more the way he chose. That was the narrative to put across at the end. I thought it was a bit odd, and he's done that 2 or 3 times, like I said. So he's clearly got daddy issues, as Ryan Ormerod says in the chat.
Daddy issues. I never know. You just don't know if the old man was quite stern with him, and you just don't know. You just don't know the situation. Maybe more will come out, but this is it certainly seems to be a bit an odd dynamic, because it's certainly it's something that obviously we've watched a fair bit of his career now at this point. What is he now? 18 fights in. I think we've pretty much seen them all, and it's a weird one that the old man's never been in the corner, because he's a trainer himself, experienced pro Hall of Famer.
He never comes to ringside.
Exactly. Great.
Maybe he's giving him his space.
Possibly, maybe he's just not trying to kind of like get involved. 'Cause you just don't know how the press would take it, like a kind of circus atmosphere, and loads of questions put towards the dad rather than taking it away from the son. Who knows? It certainly does seem to be a bit of an odd dynamic, to be fair. But again, he was hyped up, I suppose. He's just knocked the guy out. So who knows? Who knows?
Who knows indeed. Ozzy, back to the ring, back to the stuff inside the ropes, more to it. Tim, he's very calm and patient. He was moving Harrison around the ring, subtly working him, because we all know about Tony's gas tank. That was a clever tactic. And when the finish came along, he just absolutely piled it on. Mentally, though, I really love his resolve, Tszyu. He just generally strikes me as a guy who has genuine belief in his abilities. He generally thinks he's going to beat Charlo. And the fact he took this Harrison fight in the interim, didn't pussy about. I mean, obviously the WBO interim title is a load of bollocks. We don't need this shit. He could have just fought in an eliminator or just to keep busy. But the fact he chose Harrison and backed himself at home, understandably, and got rid of him and laid that statement down, I don't think he'll beat Charlo. But I tell you what, I think he'd give him a hell of a tough fight,
Yeah, I agree. And I think sometimes that's what you need more than anything is belief that, we see it a few times, oh yeah, I can beat him, but this belief is legit. And I I applaud him for taking such a risky fight, in all honesty. Let's have it right. It would have been easy for him to tick over, box like, probably, fellow Australian or some basically, past it bum that, he just ticks over and then prepares himself for the Charlo fight. But I actually think he'll be a better fighter now going into the Charlo fight off the back of this performance. I said in our chat this morning, do we think it's like not a breakout performance because, he's well known, that sort of stuff, but does this really enhance his reputation? And I genuinely believe it does. PBC put a poll out yesterday and said, predict the result, like the result, Harrison decision, TKO, or Tszyu TKO decision, and Harrison on points was the favourite, very slim. The next result was Tszyu by knockout, but it showed that people thought Harrison was in with a legit chance there. And let's have it right, I think I gave him, it might have been the opener or the second or something like that. That's pretty much it. And he was he was completely dominated throughout the rest of the fight. And I thought Tszyu worked incredibly well. I thought his finish was excellent. He's incredibly spiteful. And what I liked on the finish is that you see sometimes fighters smother the work. He didn't do that. He didn't jump in, and smother everything. He kept that distance and, he landed double uppercuts at times. He landed straight shots. He landed hooks as well. And it was, I would say, a perfect performance, but, an excellent display. In terms of reputation-wise, it couldn't have gone any better to the American audience. It was exciting, knockouts bring excitement. The way it was finished, like Andy said about Harrison's head lying on the ropes, people will remember that. And then, of course he did. He was hyped up after it and came out with all sorts of stuff after it, like what's my name, that sort of stuff. But fine, it's going to happen. I look forward to the Charlo fight now. It's another step up now. Of course it is. But at the same time, though, I give him a legit chance in it. Why wouldn't you? With somebody like that, he's still got more to come. I think he's going to be, basically, I think he's going to be excellent in that. And I think, he's not. Yeah, he's nothing to lose. He's pretty much everything everything to gain. And yeah, I think last night just showed that he's at that level now. And basically, the world is his oyster. He's only going to get better. And like I say, the risk was there, but the reward from it is even better. And, he might have been walking around, like with, feeling big about himself. But off the back of that performance alone, the self-belief has probably just multiplied tenfold.
Shout out to Ricky Graville. No lack of self-belief in this fellow. He's used his opportunity to throw in a super chat with a little advertising message, like in that from the MTK enforcer himself. He says, Boxing Asylum meet up 3rd of June in Nottingham. If you're not there, you're not worth a carrot. Shout out to you, Ricky. Also, Matt Butters had thrown in a message there. He said, apparently Showtime Comms was comparing Tszyu to Campbell Hatton. Actually, not quite. They weren't. Yeah. I thought that's the direction they were going to go, but Farhood Andy kind of just went short of that, and he just made the point that
Both were
Tszyu
fighting.
retired off the back of Hatton. They were both fighting on the same night. He didn't go too far as to say maybe a future fight. We'll let him off with that one, I think.
Because I was actually racking my brain, trying to remember what weight Campbell Hatton was again compared to Tszyu. Sorry, to Tim Tszyu. Sorry. There's about 2 divisions, I think. Can you
I think
imagine?
Costa would still beat Campbell Hatton now, wouldn't he? Let alone Tim.
What the hell were they comparing him to, apart from being a fucking father-son combination or something like
that? Was it, aye.
Yeah.
Because there is absolutely no other comparison whatsoever. Fucking hell. I hope it was. I didn't hear that. What were they actually saying?
All he said was Ricky beat Costa in his last fight, and now both of their sons are fighting on the same night within hours of each other. So it's a tenuous link, but he didn't really, to be fair, compare their abilities or say they were going to fight or anything more than that, no.
I actually want to hear Farah who'd say that he's actually watched a Campbell Hatton fight because he's done more than what I've done anyway.
I'm not sure he went that far. Yumi Yappi, yeah, I'll give you a spanner. Hold on, I'm hanging out spanners like gold medals here. There was something I was going to say to you, Andy. Oh, yeah, about Charlo, actually. Back to Charlo. He was in the studio on the version that I watched with Abner Mares. Showtime listening to the panel last week, got rid of Al Bernstein. They had Farhood in there with Brian Costa as well. I wasn't really overly impressed with Charlo. He's not the greatest talker in the world, is he? No. He does his talking in the ring, to be fair. He seemed lost for words at times. They were trying to get him to say bits and pieces, and he was holding back for whatever reason. He also did the old thing of downplaying this version of Tony Harrison to preserve his own reputation, which is a well-worn tactic. Oh, well, this isn't the same version of Tony Harrison that fought me. Well, Harrison beat you, and Brian Castano went life and death with you. So I'd say Tszyu would be a reasonable enough challenge for him. The only problem is, if he starts landing those right hands that Gausha did on him, and Harrison threatened to do at times, then Tszyu would be in trouble, as you said, Andy, if he's squaring up. But back to the Charlo thing, they just need to get it on because Charlo ain't a talker.
Yeah, true. He's not got much vocabulary, has he? Quite an emotional dude. You could just let him ramble on to see if he would actually go into a state, actually, you know. I forget, what's his injuries at this point? Was it a hand problem?
Hand injury, yeah.
Aye. It's an interesting one, obviously, because, again, it's a different fight, but Charlo, obviously, he can do side-to-side movement. He's got decent power, but if he does land the power shot, what happens if the hand goes again during that fight? You just don't know, and it might just play into Tszyu's hands. I think the first 4 or 5 rounds of that fight is going to be interesting because I think Tszyu takes a bit of time to get warmed into a fight, and then once he starts getting the range down a little bit, that's when he starts letting his punches go. I think if you pressure Charlo, maybe hold your feet too long with him, he will bang. And he can knock you out, obviously. It's an interesting one. And again, it comes down to also as well, you know, Charlo's been champ for a wee bit. Has he still got the hunger? Because, you know, Tszyu's coming in and he's hungry, the way he's talking anyway, at least. So he's got it all to prove. And obviously, Charlo's got it to prove it as well, because obviously, you know, unified champ, doesn't matter, but he's the champ and he's got to prove that he's a worthy champion as well. So if he can come out there and do a number on Tszyu, it'll be a worthy win. I think it would be a win that also would be enhanced over time. And I could probably say the same for Tszyu in that as well, because obviously, you know, Charlo's had some very good wins at 54 as well on his way to become unified champ. So it's we just need a date now. Actually, we need to know if Charlo's, I don't know if he's back punching it in the gym, if he's back training, but what are we here, March? I would imagine you'd be looking at the back end of the summer, I would think, if we're going to get this fight on. So hopefully both stay healthy and we can get it made at some point, because obviously it's a fight that boxing needs and that as well. You know, the big names in the sport, you know, squaring off. It's what you need and it's what we want.
Absolutely. Before we go domestic, Andy, quick word on the undercard. There was no Fox version that dropped in my neck of the woods, so I didn't see TJ Dehaney against Sam Goodman, which was put into the prediction league by the late Matty DJ Leonardo, RIP, last week. I did see the last 4 rounds, I'm sure you probably did as well, of that Aussie light heavyweight, Paolo Acozo, going in against Junieski Gonzalez. It was only his 4th fight. He was showboating a little bit. Showtime Sean Porter. He's a gun for hire, isn't he? Going over to Australia now as well, picking up that money. Anyway, Acozo had dropped Gonzalez with a fierce combination at some point. He was putting the shots together nicely. And then if you saw any of those 4 rounds in the Showtime feed?
I didn't know. I did see the brother Nikita Tszyu on Undercard. So say I watched this last night, hoping it was going to be like a 3 a.m. start for the main event. And I seen some. I kind of hung around for like the first 7 rounds of the Isaac Hardman Ronan Murdoch fight, At this point, it's the back of two. So I knew, and plus we had the other two fights still to come. So there was no way I was going to hang out to see the main event. So I went to bed. Nikita Tszyu looks decent. Quite spiteful again, like Ozzy was mentioning about the brother. He's a wee bit kind of similar. They've got a tight relationship. Those two as well. Hardman was, I thought, from what I seen of it anyway, was getting early half of the fight. Maybe disappointed with him actually, considering how he's coming off that career. Well, that massive knockout win in his last fight. So maybe he'll get a rematch with Zarafa next. Like you, I didn't see the TJ Dehaney fight because Dehaney at this point is finished. To be fair, I didn't get a chance to watch it. To be fair, I was going to sit and watch 10 rounds of that and then 10 rounds of Uneski Gonzalez. But so I kind of caught it on the card. I don't know if Ozzy caught anything else here, but it was all about the main event at the end of the day and that as well.
Yeah, Matt Slippery Butters, friend of the pod, says, I managed to watch Goodman Dehaney. Dominant performance from Goodman, nearly stopped Dehaney at points, but content to box him the full 10. So there's our ringside report from TV, at least, from Matt Butters. Rumours of Matty's death have been greatly exaggerated. He's risen like Lazarus on this Sunday evening. Good evening, Matthew. Are you well?
He just woke up.
The time changed over here, so it fucked me up. I sat on the couch for I'll sit here for 30 minutes, and then, 50 minutes passed, and I'm like, it's time. So here I am.
It's time. You're here, Matty. You're here just in time to talk about Tim Tszyu against Tony Harrison. Stoppage finish. Were you impressed by the Aussie down under in the little ring, getting rid of old Tone?
I'm more impressed that I was the only one on the panel that picked Tszyu by stoppage. So, yeah, good for me. And no, I thought that what Tszyu showed, I think whether you take into consideration he ended up having to have the surgery and that might have made him look bad, or just the fact that Gaucher is a better fighter than I think some give him credit for, or just jitters of his first fight in the States. Combination of those three, whatever it is, this Tim Tszyu looked a whole lot better than the guy who fought Terrell Gaucher. I thought that he was very measured in how he fought. There's some ways, there's all sorts of ways you can pressure fighters. Some of it is, obviously just throwing punches and keeping active. But what Tim Tszyu did really well is that he was applying constant physical pressure. His hands weren't always at work, but he kept himself in a position where he was always there to throw on Harrison should he find an opportunity. And it put a lot of mental strain on Harrison, I think, and led to him coming unwound there towards the end. And got to send a shout out to the ghost of Steve Smoger for making another appearance last night. My fucking God, I don't know how many punches Harrison took that he didn't need to. But it was I was impressed with Tszyu. And I think if you look at him as a bigger man than Brian Castano, a bigger puncher than Brian Castano, that physical pressure style and finding the right times to turn your hands loose, I think that could be fucking hell for Charlo, especially this incredibly inactive Charlo that we've seen. I'm very excited about Tim Tszyu, and I think he silenced a lot of doubters with that performance.
Well, Charlo isn't the most inactive Charlo in the Charlo household, at least, but we'll not talk about his brother just yet. But you are right. Tszyu can't afford to stand off for too long, though, I don't think, as he did tonight. He doesn't want to go in reckless against Charlo, but if he stands off at Charlo's range, he's primed for that jab and right-hand Matty, I think. If he gets into his chest like Castano did and starts letting the shots go, especially that uppercut when Charlo misses with the right, he could have a lot of success,
Oh, sure. But I think what Tszyu was doing is the fact that Harrison was only really showing him the jab. So he didn't have to worry about that right hand behind it. And I think he was content eating whatever Harrison had to throw with that jab so that he could land his own stuff. And that'll have to be the change that he'll make, is because Charlo will probably put another punch behind it. But I think you're looking at a tale of two fights in that one. And I see Tim Tszyu stopping Charlo late in that one as well. I'm looking forward to them actually making it happen.
Wow, interesting. Brave call for Matty there. He's joined us on episode 514 alongside Ozzy, Andy, and me. We're throwing out spanners in the chat to try and keep out the trolls as best as we can. And there are different levels to spanners, actually. I find out there's a standard moderator and a managing moderator. So you're all standard moderators at the moment. So you need to work yourself up the levels, maybe with hard work and dedication every Sunday evening. You can go the traditional route and get yourselves up to managing moderator. So good luck to everybody there. With your spanners.
These fucking new people, they don't even start up at this area level moderation. It's not like the old days, Steve. It's just taking jumps and levels.
Exactly. We don't want them blowing themselves out too early, so to speak. Let's go on to the DAZN card, shall we? In Liverpool, the Echo Arena. I tell you what was echoing in with all the empty seats last night. I just come up with that one.
Woo! I tell you what, talk about, you see how you see an old bird going about and she's dolled up like an old fucking lamb, you know what I'm saying? She's got all the makeup on, the tight dress, the fucking suspenders, all that type of stuff. Well, just dressing it up a bit. Well, that's what Eddie done there last night with that show, It was fucking dark everywhere. And you think you seen it after the main event, and I think the guys get interviewed, to see the whole empty arena, just seats vacated. So, yeah, wasn't fucking well attended there last night.
Well, I think everybody that was in attendance was asking the exact same thing last night. Who's Diego Pacheco?
There's Callum Smith.
Where's Callum Smith? Who was he supposed to be fighting in the first place? Well, all the people who weren't there, Andy, won't have seen Diego Pacheco getting rid of Jack Cullen in the 4th round. Nice little body shot finish. We'll cover the card rather as a whole one. Actually, Bobby Davis Jr. as well going down on his ankle against Dara Foley. Rhiannon Dixon fighting Mam. Peter McGrail going the full distance and Johnny Fisher as well. What stood out for you really, Andy, of this card? Was it Pacheco in the main event, maybe?
Well, just the manner that Pacheco just went about it, obviously, and Cullen just taking those shots in the end, man, he just couldn't hold those shots. Gives a jab, right hand, in fact, maybe a double jab actually, right hand, and he just put him right back into the ropes and followed up with another right hand. And Steve Gray does what he does best and stops the fight. And he's talking about now, obviously, Pacheco fighting Edgar Berlanga, so maybe a good fight for both guys at this stage. Now, I was going to ask you guys that as well about Pacheco ending up on the Sky card, because there's been a lot of kind of odd movements. Three Brits fighting in France. You've got another 2 fighting abroad in a couple of weeks' time, and you've got Pacheco here in the UK. So,
Andy, it's all climate change related. They're growing champagne grapes in England now. Everything's fucked up.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. As for the card as a whole, Steve, I caught bits of McGrail, but I was kind of like coming and going between that fight because obviously it was like a bit repetitive. He is classy, obviously, has good skills. I'd just like to see him kind of up it a wee bit, and it just kind of bored there. Johnny Fisher. This was an odd one, actually, this Alfonso Damiani guy. I don't know if he's like some sort of offspring of Francisco.
That's what I was wondering, actually.
Motherfucker could eat a shot, I can tell you that. I mean, even after that first round, you think this guy's going to get blasted out here, but then he seemed to kind of survive. And that last right hand that he took, it was a bitchy shot, I must admit. But if you've seen the slow motion, I was watching on the slow motion second opinion, I thought that was stopped just a fraction too early. I think obviously Fisher was on his way to win the fight, obviously. But I just think maybe it was just stopped a fraction too soon. I thought Damiani ate the shot pretty well, and he seemed to focus on Fisher pretty straight away. So I don't think he was that gone at that point, but there's only going to be one winner in the end anyway. Campbell Hatton, didn't see him. I think might have had it on in the background, but I was kind of flipping between that and the French card at the time. And Davis Jr., obviously, it's a bit of a shock, obviously, getting dropped in the manner what he did in round 2. Then broke. To me, that's a broken ankle that he's done there in that 3rd round. You can see the way when he actually hits the deck on his backside, his leg kind of pops up. You can actually see that ankle kind of flap a wee bit there. That's definitely a broken ankle. So, there's Tony. I kind of agree with what Ante Bellew was saying there last night. Maybe getting stopped like that, maybe saves him for a wee bit kind of more extra punishment. Maybe he'll fight again possibly. But Eddie's now stuck with Dara Foley now for 2 fights, so I don't think he'll not be too impressed by that. So it'll be interesting because obviously Dara's wanting to get on that Katie Taylor bill in Dublin, isn't he?
Eddie's lost his edge, man, because for one thing, he used to have the energy and the enthusiasm back in the day, but he's getting like old Frank Warren now with the names. Have you noticed? He's calling Dara Foley Darren Foley, and then he's talking about Steve Sparks, who's really Steve Spark. I know that might sound a bit pedantic, but that was one thing Eddie was always on top of. And I think that's an indication now of his like quarter don't give a fuck anymore.
Exactly. And plus, when you got Foley there shouting at the last night, once on the Dublin show to front of like 500 people, didn't really get the response he was looking for, I suppose. But look, fair play to the guy. He took his opportunity. He's going to get another couple of paydays off it. And at this point, you just don't know if he might get an opportunity of some sorts off the back of this, like a title shot or some, some description. So, he just took his chance. Freak injury or no, and that. So fair play to him. So what else was on Undercard? I think that's pretty much it.
Well,
so
as
really...
for McGrail there, Andy, just quickly, this was for Bellew of the Week, but I feel like I can't hold off any longer. McGrail's going places after the 10 rounder and the RG. He said, apparently, I think it was before the fight, if Nao Inoue is still at super bantamweight when I get to that level, I'd put myself in the ring with him, and I believe I would be able to beat him. So this is what we're aspiring to, Andrew.
Yeah, that's true. Well, fair play. The guy thinks he can beat him. There's not many fighters that do not believe they can beat another fighter, but I think we can agree that Inoue is probably at a different level at this point, and McGrail is probably a couple of years away from it, possibly.
I wouldn't even give myself a good chance if I had a baseball bat.
So I don't know where they kind of ranked that DAZN card there last night in terms of like 5 stars or whatever. And I'll probably give it a generous 2.5, possibly.
Good, mate. Can you do minus stars?
Yeah, I could do, mate. Anything for you.
Did you see anything out of Matty of the DAZN card?
I just saw Pacheco. I thought that he looked all right. It's just an odd place for him to be fighting. It's the cards were it's just kind of strange weekend, Steve. It was just a little bit of a strange weekend. Decent main event on ProBox TV we can hit later, but it was these cards, man. They're just a little bit funky, and there's some coming up still that is. I like, me, I'm very optimistic about how many good fights are going on and stuff like that. But some of the shit that's going on, it's just like, I don't know what to fucking think.
Yep, Puke TV. Shout out to Danny Young throwing in a $5 there in the super chat. He said, "This is for not listening live recently, but can I get a spanner for trying to play with the missus while you boys do the hard yards in boxing on a Sunday?" Absolutely, Danny. I'll throw you a spanner in there. A spanner in the works very shortly. If you wanna go and try your hand at whatever it is you're up to tonight, you can have a spanner, no problem at all. Aussie, Liverpool. I tell you what, the whole show went down really like Davis on his ankle, didn't it? The poor fella. I don't know how he's going to recover from that. He wasn't the greatest boxer as it was in the first place. Callum Smith falling off the card didn't help matters, but then his opponent wasn't the greatest in the first place. I think just put this one in the books, Eddie, and move on.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that Callum Smith dropping off the card affected absolutely zero ticket sales because he doesn't sell a ticket anyway. It was absolute trash, to be honest. Let's not try and glorify it. It was awful. I think you're right. It just says, I think Eddie's just cracking on basically and just, proceeding. He tried to spin the line of, well, people have been in camp and we need to carry on and honour them. But a couple of years ago, he'd have pulled something like this. There's no way he would have run on Sky with a headline of Diego Pacheco against Jack Cullen. I like Pacheco. I think, Cullen just can't take a body shot, which basically ultimately, makes him pretty much fucked, really. But I thought Pacheco looked really good when he let his hands go, and when he put his combinations together, he looked every bit of the prospect that people are talking him up to be. I'm not going to go overboard because it is Jack Cullen, who's realistically probably British level. No shame in that at all. Fantastic level to box at. But I think Pacheco aspires to be a lot higher than that. So, he's had his test, from our perspective domestically. I think they'll be looking to move him up, up the rankings now. Get him the correct tests. Davis Jr., Dara Foley. I think was Davis Jr. in with Steve Spark or something like that, and then Spark pulled out, or was it Liam Parrow? I can't remember which one.
Liam Parrow.
Was it Liam Parrow? Yeah. He pulls out. Dara Foley comes in last minute. Last time I saw Foley box was on an MTK card against Chris Jenkins, and in typical Jenkins fashion, the fight ended on a cut. But got dropped. Bad ankle injury. Horrendous when you slow it down. He's actually had surgery now. So that's going to be repaired. But I've no doubt, it's probably a dislocation, ligament damage. He's going to be out for at least 6 to 8 months as a bare minimum. But for me, like you said, Steve, he wasn't the greatest anyway. I think you've got to look at it. He can probably come back off it and say, look, yes, I was dropped, but, freak accident, look for the rematch or something like that. Does he really want it? But maybe, question his future in the sport, really. I think they were hoping that had he beaten Liam Parrow, it was like some sort of world title eliminator. Not sure how that was ever sanctioned for that. Rhiannon Dixon, like you said, beat up a mother to win the Commonwealth title. Pete McGrail, I'm finding this with a lot of these, like slick amateurs that are turning over now. Fantastic skills, got loads of them, but they're bloody boring to watch. There's just nothing about them. There's in genuine all seriousness, there's more excitement in a Johnny Fisher fight. And, in terms of ability, McGrail is streets ahead. But actually, it gets a bit repetitive, and I think for me, you want to be getting people like that out of there. If you want to make a statement, not just, go in the 10 rounds and, it's the good old, it's great to get 10 rounds in the bank. Well, actually, an early night, you can make a bit more of an impact because people do switch off. And, that crowd was limited last night and Berryman, he was in front of his hometown crowd. Are they going to be rushing back to watch him next time he's boxing? Oh, the heck, absolutely no chance. Johnny Fisher, again, thought the stoppage was a bit early, actually, from that a bit unfair on that Alfonso Damiani. But in reality, look, Fisher was well ahead, was winning. It was a typical, pretty much UK stoppage at the moment. Big John, he was at ringside, celebrated with the Chinese after his son got the win last night. He had a Chinese on Friday as well. Cheat weekend rather than cheat night for Big John. I'd probably say the performance of the night, in all honesty.
So many prawns needlessly die for this man.
Do you know what? Yeah, I was going to say as well, mate. Prawns, excellent sauce, low carb, high protein. The issue is with Big John, he eats some deep fried. So all that health benefit goes out the window. But no, I thought the performance, yeah, along with a lot of chicken balls as well, and prawn balls and pork balls as well. But no, performance of the night for me was Aqib Fiaz, without a doubt. Big win against Dean Dodge for stoppage, boxed really well. Wasn't on the televised section of the card. And oh, fuck's sake. Wilbertross is his other son, actually. Will Fisher puts all the videos together. Look at the state of him in that video. Fuck's sake.
If you Google Wilbertross, man, it's just fucking loads of pictures of Big John, Bosch TV, William.
Mate, he is. I tell you, he's a celebrity. He is a celebrity now. He's Big John. He brings the views. He puts dough behind the local Chinese weekly, supports local businesses. He's encouraging people to lose weight while he guzzles curry sauce down by the pint, by the gallon.
Loses 2 pounds per week. We're not talking weight.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I love the way he finds all these different ways, though, Ozzy, of coming up with his cheat night. He's got cheat night, treat night,
yeah,
all these different names.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I mean. And we'll weigh in tomorrow. I put £1 on. I'm thinking, mate, you're like 25 stone. If you took this seriously, you'd be dropping like £8-9 a week. Never mind bloody £1 or £2. But he's happy.
Do a bell you though, mate. £10 nice and easy.
Yeah, putting £10 nice and easy. Yeah, maybe you should speak to Anthony about that. But no, in all seriousness, he's happy. And do you know what? I do like Johnny Fisher. I think he's quite a humble guy. He knows, he's not coming out, saying, I want to box for a British title. I want to do this. I want to do that. He's got a great trainer in Mark Tibbs, along with Jimmy Tibbs as well. They're taking it easy with him. What's that now? I think he's had 8 fights. They've not taken any massive risks with him, but they don't need to. He does sell tickets, so he's always going to appear on cards. I'd like to see him box for an area title in a couple of fights. I think that'd be good. That'd do him well. And, they'll just progress him nicely. And I've nothing wrong with that. It's not as if he's boxing, like his main event or anything like that. If he headlines, one of these next-gen cards, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think Fisher, has actually got a bit of ability as well. He does get better. He's got a decent jab. These opponents aren't, top standard, but they don't not all of them roll over as well. Like you said last night, we've seen heavyweights come over here, like when Frank brings them over for Dubois, like your Ebenezer Tetes and people like that. And Dubois throws a shot, misses, and they go down. So this guy, was game. Was he great? No. But he kept on coming. And then, Campbell Hatton, who, to put it bluntly, he is shit. He's just not good. Again,
ready after that fight, though, mate? He was saying it looks like he's going to give him another year. And then if it's sink or swim time after that, he's going to have to take a chance, fight somebody.
Hands of foam.
Quite right. He's 10-0 now, can qualify, to box for like eliminators, area titles or something like that. As soon as they put him in with somebody who can realistically fight back, he's going to get beat without a doubt. He's just not great. And, I think, Hearn at the moment, it's not as if Hatton, draws the numbers. Conor Benn, had a bit something about him, when he turned over, and he was dire also, but he actually went away and look, forget what's gone on, but he did improve. Like he was a hell of a lot better than I thought. I thought it'd be 20 fights before he fought somebody with a pulse, realistically. With Hatton, I think he needs 40 fights before he fights someone realistically with a pulse, because, like you said, he can't bang a drum, he can't punch, he's just not very good. And if he was called Campbell Smith, Campbell Johnson, he'd be nowhere near these cards whatsoever. So yeah, not great from Eduardo, not great at all. They talk about value for money for the zone. If you're using this as an advertisement ploy, the only thing people will be doing is cancelling the subscriptions because it was dire.
Shout out to Jim McDonald Boxing. He says the only time John Fisher drops £9 in a week is when he tells the delivery driver to keep the change. That was quite a good one there from Jim. Mark Stanton, equally scathing, says Campbell should have a go at this transgender boxing. Well, you never know. I suppose he could do. One person he could fight, Matty, is Jimmy First, friend of the pod, even though he doesn't even know it. The 41-year-old silent assassin. He lost, Matty.
No!
Oh, did he? Bloody hell.
He lost to Josh Padley on points for the Central Area title.
No! That's terrible to hear.
But his whole career ahead of
the old guys. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately. It's Jimmy First. In against Campbell Hatton soon, maybe. You never know.
Jimmy First to kill him. Yeah. Jimmy First to kill him. He would. It'd literally be man against Boyd. He'd beat the shit out of him. He honestly would.
Shout out to Jimmy. He can come back. He's nearly 42. He's in his 42nd year, so he can come back, old Jimmy.
He had his big night, didn't he, Jimmy First on Sky. He beat Corey Gibbs. That was the big win for him.
He hasn't been training as hard since then, also, I don't think. It's probably hard to keep the weight off, when you get past 40 and all.
I was going to say, man, you're like making 135 at fucking 41. Fair fucks to him. We could set the mic and stuff, but at age 41 to basically he only had 13 fights. He did box as an amateur, but to be basically it's not big money, is it? For an area title, what's he getting? A few grand, something like that. Fair play to the guy. You've got to applaud it, really. And like I said, he had his big night on Sky, didn't he? Upset the odds, beat Corey Gibbs. That was his due.
Hopefully he'll come back. Matty, you mentioned earlier the ProBox card before we go on to France and give a shout out to everybody. Luis Torres Valenzuela going in against Missile. That's a good boxing name, isn't it? Missile. Cabrera Urias for the WBC Latino lightweight title. You're watching these shows, Matty, so we don't have to. What happened?
Which fight were you talking about? The one with Torres and
Missile on ProBox TV.
Yeah, that was a good one with an up and comer with an undefeated record against a guy with some miles and a lot of experience. Where Torres was just able to nick it out. The cards were a little wider than they should have been, but he had a knockdown, I think, in the third or the fourth round that should have really played in that, because as his legs started to slow down, his opponent was just able to start catching up with him, putting on good steady pressure. It was another really entertaining fight. From this ProBox effort. This was down from Mexico on the Juan Manuel Marquez portion. So Again, it's been Wednesday. I missed kind of lost some stuff in between, but it was a good, entertaining card again with a good main event again. And I like the guys in charge of this, Steve, because it's going to take a while to kind of see the fruits of their labor as it develops. But the people behind ProBox TV are not afraid to give their guys an L. They're not afraid to put them in tough. It's creating entertaining fights, and I think if they keep it up and they can maintain their talent, keep moving up the levels, they're giving them the right kind of development that is going to make it so these fighters, when they find themselves in a major championship fight or in an eliminator, they are going to be just fine. They've been there, done that. And so let's see what's going on with ProBox. I like the fighters' touch with the way that they're managing this. And I think there's going to be something to this. Of all the promotional shit that goes on and falls away, this, that, and the other, I have a hunch about ProBox that they're going to be around in another 5-6 years.
Yeah, I think the likes of ProBox and Showbox, which rhymes there, on a Friday evening, those matchmakers, the way they match their fighters, they could do with slotting that matchmaker onto the undercard of some of these shows, Matty, to try and make things a bit more competitive, because it's not enough to carry a card and it hasn't got the names that we're used to. But I know Showbox has its own job to do with pushing the champions of tomorrow through. But ProBox, for example, they could do again a few of them fights on big like DAZN undercards and stuff, just to pep things up a bit.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully we see ProBox involved with other entities as well, Steve, because they've got a lot of good talent coming up, and it seems like they also have a good eye for good opponents as well, who might have been overlooked. And one of my hopes with all this crap going on and boxing struggling is that the promoters are just going to finally just throw their hands up and say, fine, I guess I got to go across the street and work with so-and-so. And a company like this, who isn't afraid to put their fighters in challenging fights, they're going to be willing to work with other people and put these fights together. So more entities like ProBox, more cards like they put on, which probably cost a fraction of the price of that Matchroom card from Saturday, and you got a shit ton more bang for your buck.
More bang for your buck if you pay for it. Yeah, from ProBox to Showbox to no box, Andy. You just sent me a photo there. I'm going to put it up as soon as you start speaking. Over in France, we'll go through the card and you can discuss whatever you wish. Old mediocre himself, Tony Yoka, getting another L. He's not very good, is he, really? Getting beaten by Carlos Takam. A bit of French skullduggery all round. They tried to fuck the cards up in Yoka's favour. Oh my gosh! And then the Farhad Saad one was absolutely ridiculous. When Macaulay McGowan managed to get the win. I didn't see the woman fight. Foray got the shit beaten out of him for the majority against Aziz. He nearly saw the fight out. I think the stoppage was absolutely correct. What did you see in France, apart from some dodgy judging, a bit of dodgy officiating, and some general French skullduggery, Andy?
Also seen a guy that we've got to put on the shit list, or certainly on the warning list, by the way of the name of French judge Smail Al-Tucci, I think his name's pronounced, right? Mm-hmm. He was the one that gave it a draw against Farhad Saad against Macaulay McGowan. McGowan, I thought, won the fight by about 2 points. I could maybe see Saad coming into the fight in the back half because he was putting the pressure on, and I think McGowan was getting a wee bit kind of, not so much rattled, but he certainly was a wee bit... Yeah, I would say a wee bit rattled in that kind of maybe that 8th round because he was getting the pressure put on him. But I certainly think McGowan won the fight. I'll leave the main event just now. I want to mention Dan Aziz. Big up to Big Dan. Now European champion that go along with his British Commonwealth light heavyweight titles. Fair play to him. Completed the traditional route. He had that Thomas Farrow in major bother. I think it was about the 6th, possibly 7th round. And fair play to the Frenchman, by the way, because he hung his balls out there in one of the rounds, kind of on the back half. He took a bit of a beating, and they come back. I think it was like the last 20, 15 seconds of the round, really kind of putting his balls out there. So done more than what Tony Harrison did there last night. Anyway, put it that way, he try and stay in the fight and win a title. But looking at Aziz, he kind of felt that maybe his time had kind of passed to try and stop the guy because he seemed to kind of like fall back into the routine, jab and right hands, and you can see Buddy McGirt telling him to try and step on it a wee bit. I think Farrell did know he needed to get a knockout, but the ending was brutal. Actually, that right hand that he landed was emphatic, and the guy had nothing left. And to be fair, taking as much as what what he did to getting stopped, not a fair play to him. He played his part, lasted almost 12 rounds. So a fair play to both guys, and big up Big Dan Aziz and that. He might not make it at world level, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter. He has done enough now that he can earn some good money, put it aside, pay off a house or whatever. And that. I mean, he'll get some good paydays between being British and European champion if he can successfully defend them over the next year or so. And brings us on to our man Steve, Tony Mediocre, or as I seen a name name last night, Tony Yucca, because he's fucking awful. Where did he start actually? I mean, what did they do? Nothing, absolutely nothing. I think he was single punching. He didn't seem to lead. He seemed very, very tentative. It just looks like all confidence has been beaten out of him. I don't know what else you can actually say at this point. I mean, he was. I'm not going to say he's a drug cheat because I don't think he failed the drugs test. I think it was a missed test, but then
he kept skipping him, didn't he?
He did. I think it was 3 missed tests. Anyway, he got banned. He come back, steadily feasted on some older guys. Early half of his career now, he was hyper aggressive, mugging off his opponents. That seemed to dissipate as his careers went on, and he's up levels. And that he has not looked good. I remember, was it Peter Millis? I don't know if you got his record there or not, mate. I think it's about, I want to say 3 years ago, possibly. Peter Millis, I think he maybe stopped him, but Millis touched him with a left hook. Me and Dave Lee were talking about it last night as well, because we were digging up old tweets and that. We were saying, like, this guy just is not what is advertised. We said it after the Piccoli fight, and last night just cemented it. That guy is a bum. I don't care if he's an Olympic gold medalist. That is a fraud gold medalist. He shouldn't even be a gold medalist. It should be Joe Joyce should be the champion. He has been gift-wrapped the best part of his pro career. Obviously, he's had the drug issues. Never left France. And by Christ, a split decision for a guy who done nothing but win maybe 1 or 2 rounds. It was an absolute disgrace. And that is that judge I just mentioned there. That is it Al Tucci. Keep an eye on that motherfucker over the next couple of years, because he's going to be cropping up to try and do some damage to some people.
Yoka just fights scared, Andy. Like
he did.
I remember, like he has decent feet. If there's anything I could say, he has decent feet. And there are some times when he got out of the way of Takam's shots, and Takam just went flying into the corner. And if Yoka had any balls about him, he would have stepped in and thrown at least a few shots with his opponent vulnerable, but instead he just used it to get as much distance as possible. I mean, he just does not have a fighter's spirit.
He's no urgency there last night. Virtual Hunters had him now. How many fights? At least 3 or 4. He's been in America, I know, for the best part of his pro career training. He must have known he needed a knockout going into that the last couple of rounds of that fight. Had to know. And he was told, look, I think he was told anyway by Hunter that he needed a knockout or at least win the last 2 rounds big. I mean, he loses a split decision by winning 2 rounds. It's just incredible. I just cannot believe how much he tried to kind of job Takam, who by the way, we haven't even mentioned. He just needed the old man. I'm using the experience. He stayed in the pocket. He slipped and slid. He ducked and dived. Punched, and then obviously made Yoka really scared to come out because he didn't even commit to his jab. And we saw what Piccoli done to him in that as well, kind of dropped him twice, hurting him numerous times. I think he maybe even broke his nose, possibly. So, yeah, look, I was kind of joking kind of like on Twitter there that last night, but I mean most of it. That guy is a bum. You would not believe how much I was on my knees there last night, hoping that Takam was going to stop him as well. I was almost wanting to beg for it, going to my knees to beg him, just to stop it, just to kind of prove that he is not what has been advertised. Because the fucking force fed us for years. This was an next addition to the heavyweight division. Joe Joyce and Filip Hrgovic, look where they are compared to Tony Yoka, or Mediocre, sorry. And those guys came through the amateurs together. They went through all the Olympics, all the World Championships, all the European Championships, and here they are, practically at the same age, at the same point. I don't know if they've got roughly the same number of fights, possibly. And look where Tony Mediocre is. Somehow he got a top 15 ranking with IBF. Well, he's going to get binned out of there imminently. He just has not progressed. He has got that amateur style. Fight scared. He needs to get back on the juice if he's going to be anything at all. And I think that's what we see now. We see a clean fighter who has no confidence, and outside of what he's got, which is like a basic jab, he's got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anybody in the top 15, you put him in the top 15 with anybody in that top 15 across any of the ranking bodies, and they all have their way with him. I would be pretty much convinced it.
Ryan Ormond making the comparisons there. He said he fights like Audley, I suppose, with the amateur connection as well. That is quite an apt comparison. Des going in depth. He says, elite amateur programs and big men don't work, robs them of identity and confidence. They're bought up on tap and move. This isn't exclusive to Yoka. We're constantly being let down by elite big men.
That's what Ozzy was not talking about Peter McGrail, for example. I don't know if Ozzy's still there, but they're coached to an nth, because of the fights you've got to fight, 3-rounders, get on the jab, get moving, reset, get your combinations off and move. But you very seldom get knockouts in the amateurs. And again, it's a style you've got to try and totally unteach yourself when you get to the pros. You're only going to be able to do so much using that amateur style. Because at some point you're going to get a dog check, and it's nothing like you've seen in the pros because in the amateurs. Because look when it gets kind of rough in the amateurs. Look what happens with a fucking bleeding nose. The referee stops the fight and goes and gets the nose wiped off. Just things like that.
Yeah. I've always said a prime example was Tom Stalker. He was a very good amateur, turned over, and
wasn't he team captain of GB in 16?
Yeah, and let's have it right. You're right, Matt. He was a terrible pro. It just didn't work, and that style just did not work for him. The tippy tappy. He couldn't put. He just had no power whatsoever. The odd time it will work. For example, elite level. Amateurs. Will turn over and they can transition to the pros extremely well. But I would actually say that you see more people coming through who have basically been average amateurs or have basically just sacked off the system and done their own thing, and they transition to the pros a lot better, a lot quicker, and actually carve out a career for themselves. Like McGrath, Galal Yafai is the same. He is another one, elite level amateur, but ultimately no one cares about them at the moment. It's boring to watch, when they're against, basically a limited opponent, and like you said, they're in and out, bang, 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 we're away. Bang, 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 we're away again. You just think you're right, you have got to, and I think some of the mistakes that they make as well is sometimes they'll try and stay with their amateur coach. For me, they need to knock it on the head and move away. Go with a tried and tested professional coach who will get you to box like a pro. There's nothing wrong with utilising some of those skills. Sonny Edwards was an excellent amateur. And I think, some of his style somewhat reflects that as well. He doesn't have the power, to knock people out. But at the same time, he's a very, very good boxer. But he'll also, not just still adopt that style. And that's worked for him, He's a world champion, arguably one of the best, flyweight, superfly, I forget which one he's at. And that's worked. But so many others, it just doesn't work for. And again, with Yoka, he was quite excited. I remember when Dave Allen went over there and he beat the shit out of Dave Allen, and so he should be as well, from the background he came from. I'm not sure he'd have the balls in him to do it now. He just doesn't seem like he's scared of getting hit, whether that was, because of the Bacoli fight or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, he's done. You were mentioning, Andy, anybody in the top 15 would have his way with him. I'd go as far as saying people like, and this isn't, like slagging him off, but like David Adelaide, who is a young prospect, I would back David Adelaide to beat Tony Yoka tomorrow.
More aggressive, big power.
Exactly, yeah. Big power. He'd come out, he'd try and bully him, he'd rough him up. And I think he'd stop him. I don't know whether it's a mental thing for Yoka or not, but let's have it right. Takam, he's had a very good career, but he's always been like the Neely man, hasn't he? He's been a gatekeeper. And when you're getting ironed out by Derek Chisora, it really shows the level that you're at. And I thought, it was a decent fight for Yoka, but one he should be winning. And he lost pretty much every round. Those scorecards were some of the worst I have ever seen. They were atrocious, every single one of them. And I can't be too critical because the UK is just as bad at times. But those three cards were appalling. They did not resemble the fight that happened in the ring whatsoever. And I don't understand what they watched. Same with the Macaulay McGowan fight, by the way, as well. he was robbed. The guy who boxed was shit, by the way. You know, it was typical, you know, like we see these crop up, you know, these padded, you know, French, Italian, Spanish records. When they actually come up with somebody again, well, like a Pulse, you know, like basically a decent enough British guy, they get beat. And, you know, McGowan should have got that win last night. Look, he got the draw, but people won't remember that. You'll take a look at the record and go, oh, he went away and got a draw, when actually he should have won. And again, you know, it was an odd card really by Sky. I thought, again, performance of the night. I wouldn't even say it was Takam. I thought it was Dan Aziz again.
Yep,
I thought the stoppage was... Yeah, I thought the stoppage was brutal in the end, actually. It reminded me of, you know, when Baumgardner stopped Terry Harper, just landed that short, you know, that short right hand, but it stood him up. He was absolutely done, and, you know, decent stoppage by the referee, jumped in, and basically the French guy just kind of like collapsed into his arms. I thought, you know, look, it wouldn't surprise me if we see him again.
He was ballsy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see him again, you know, at like... you know, somebody coming from British level to, you know, like the in-between, you know, European level. Because, look, that French guy could easily win a European title against the right opponent.
Or an EU title.
But, yeah, something, yeah, absolutely. Oh, he'll definitely win an EBU, EU belt. Yeah, no, absolutely. But, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see him again. As for Dan Aziz, you know, I like the way he's going about things. I think, you know, that's another belt to add. He's got Southern Area, English, Commonwealth, British, now European. He's one of Sky's bigger names. And what is it? He's active. He fights live fighters. He goes for meaningful belts. None of these bauble belt shit that, you know, no one cares about.
Got a
yeah, absolutely. You know, I like what he's doing. They don't need to rush him up to world level yet. You know, they do not need to do that. There's a couple of good fights to be made domestically. If I'm Aziz or something like that, I'd be looking at, you know, coming back to London, get him headlining at the Copper Box, get him in a domestic fight against someone like Lyndon Arthur. I saw Joshua Buatsi apparently wants to box him, which I find odd, really, really odd. You know, Eddie came out and said, you know, Buatsi's turned down £1 million to fight Bivol. You know, and it apparently wants the Dan Aziz fight, which of course will be financially less. I wonder with Buatsi, you know, £1 million, decent money. I don't really know what he'd expect to get, but by turning that down, I think that basically waves the white flag that he believes he's not ready for Bivol. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he should not be in this position from where, you know, he's basically a mandatory challenger for a world title, and then he's turning down offers, because £1 million great money. So why is he turning it down? You know, I'm sure there was other bits to consider, but he wants to go back domestically. By the way, this is something that this podcast has called for years, that he needs to hang around the domestic level scene and, you know, get involved with, you know, his rivals at that level, and then work his way back up. So, you know, that's a big fight.
Dan Aziz is more worthy of a world title fight than what Joshua Buatsi is right at this point. I mean, that man has now proved that he is the man in British soil as a light heavyweight fighter, probably in Europe as well. But we know he's not ready to go up there.
Sure, man. The only one I'd rival you with is Anthony Yard.
Oh,
just purely
Callum Smith is still a good fighter, man. Callum Smith, despite everything,
but these guys are fighting at world level, mate. So what's the chances of that fight actually happening? You know, I'm talking about European level. You know, we're saying that Yard and Callum Smith are just like fringe or world level. So what I'm saying about Dan Aziz is he's you know, the guys like Peter McGrail would actually benefit from doing what Dan Aziz has done. As Ozzy's mentioned, off all those titles, right? It's culminated in him now becoming British, Commonwealth, and European champion, right? You know, back in the day, that was what got you world title shots. It proved that you were the best in your country and you're best in your continent.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So 100%. He's more than worthy now. Is he capable? Probably not at this point. You know, I think he's just lacking that extra level to go up as well. But there's no shame in it. So at the end of the day, he's definitely the fight of the weekend for me. The way he ended it was brutal. Good to see that as well. He didn't want that going to scorecards, which I'd love to see what those scorecards would have been as well. Because if we got 3 dodgy cards, then
no,
you know, it would have been terrible to see. But big up, big Dan Aziz, man. You know, as I say, I love to see it, and no many people can say it. Not many British fighters can say it, especially in this current era of fighters. When you're saying is how many of them are actually going out there and doing that, going on the small circuit scene, picking up the area titles. You know, there was a number of fights here during the weekend that were aired free to air on YouTube, which were for area titles, English titles, Ricky Summers,
Yeah.
I think, was fighting for English title and that. Guys would rather sit and watch those fights than rather than watch Peter McGrail do 10 rounds against a fucking jobber, right?
Mate,
Without
yeah,
doubt.
I completely agree, and I've always said it is not difficult to build a boxing card whatsoever. You know, they bang on about it's hard to do this and it's hard to do that. The board can do half the work for you by ordering the fights.
Exactly.
But, you know, I would rather see 5 TV fights, of which, you know, consist of, you know, like area, English, British, European, and like a world level type of thing, or, you know, another European level. Because what have I always said about those lower level fights, area, English, not always British, but the particularly English and area level, the nine times out of 10, they are almost always competitive. And that is because you've got 2 people coming into it. Doesn't necessarily need to involve like a big name prospect like McGrail either. But, you know, like, for example, that Jimmy First fight, I have no idea what it was like. But what it would have been is 2 blokes in that ring giving it their all for that title. You know, Steve Goodwin has made, but not necessarily a living off it, but, you know, he's a big believer in the Southern Area title, you know, for like his fighters. I think he's had 40 champions, you know, win Southern Area belts across his career. That's some go in that. And some of the best fights I've seen have been at English level, Southern Area level. I remember watching Jack Catterall when he first turned over and he beat Nathan Brough. You know, I think it was Jack would have been something like 12-0. Brough would have been 13-0. Area level title. And you just think, you know, like, for some people, that's a massive achievement. Obviously, Catterall's gone on to achieve, you know, big things somewhat. But again, you guarantee almost action from it all the time. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. One of the best Box Nation fights that was ever on was Craig Poxton against Boy Jones Jr. And I'm pretty sure that was for the Southern Area title. And it was absolutely quality. Poxton, you know, they basically just beat lumps out of each other for 10 rounds, I think it was. Poxton, I'm pretty sure, either beat him on points or got him out there late. And it was fantastic. And promoters should go back to basics and build the cards like that, because it pretty much guarantees action. And in a time from where it's incredibly difficult to sell tickets and get people, you know, watching the fights because, you know, the cost of living crisis, people would rather watch something that entertains them rather than Peter McGrail boxing some absolute no mark from Argentina over 10 rounds. And like I said, the best thing about that fight was when it finished, because there was nothing good about it whatsoever. And again, whereas, you know, your area level ones, your English level ones, your British level ones, 9 times out of 10, they can produce the goods. And it's not difficult to do. But whether they're under pressure from TV or not, but there's this obsession with getting them a world ranking now that quickly because it looks good and they can market it. You can market your number 14 ranking, whatever you want whatsoever. What do you walk around with? A copy of the world rankings going around town going, yeah, I'm number 14 in the world. Yeah, yeah. But what you can do is when you want to market yourself, you've got that, you know, that Lonsdale belt, your British title, you've got the Commonwealth title, you know, the area titles don't look the best, but again, you've got something physical to show, not a fucking number in a world ranking that it literally is not worth a carrot.
That there was a Welsh area fight, title fight on maybe about a month ago. I remember watching that. I forget the 2 guys' names at this point, but that was like 50-50, scrap it out, right to the wire, all the way. And as you say, you can get some decent cards with that, and maybe put like say a Dan Aziz, you know, chief support, and get a world title fight on top of that. Christ, man, you would get people fucking flocking to it. You wouldn't get people complaining about quality control and that, because as I say, anything we get off Matchroom these days is accidental value, you know. So it's just I just wanted to get a mention because I want to give Dan Aziz, you know, big respect, because that by and large will go under the radar by a lot, you know, apart from the hardcore boxing fans, obviously, but that will go under the radar, that you know, that win, and it's a big achievement, to be fair, that man. And go on the road and that as well and do it, you know. And it says that guy gave it his bollocks, man. He did try to fight back. Aziz had him hurt. I think it was definitely the middle half of the fight, and he fought himself back into it. He was cut. He was bleeding. And he kept going to the bit of death, and he got caught with that great right hand. You know, big him up as well. Because I thought that was an excellent fight. But obviously, big Dan Aziz, just to kind of culminate it by becoming European champion, and a guy who can have a legit, if he was mouthy or anything like that, I don't know, anything about the guy, but if he was mouthy, he could be coming out here saying, "Listen, I deserve a world title shot before Joshua Buatsi and your ilk and all that type of that." So fair play to him. I just wanted to mention him.
Yeah, I think the last person to do it, by the way, before we can move on, is Warrington.
Josh
Warrington.
So there you go, mate.
Sure,
it's rarefied there. There's not many British fighters doing it these days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think pre that, I think Billy Joe Saunders would have been one of them as well. But I think
Tyson Fury maybe.
Tyson Fury never won the area title.
They won the Celtic, didn't they? And the Irish.
I'm not sure. I don't. Yeah, he might well have won an Irish title or something like that. But
he did win the Irish, but not the Celtic.
Right.
Yeah. So, but again, look at those. Look at those three names there: in Fury, Warrington, Saunders.
Cleverly.
They all had that. Yeah, and cleverly as well. They all had their, like their tests coming through domestically, Commonwealth level, European level, things like that. And there is no better way to build a fighter unless, it's like a Lomachenko turning over. Because you're not going to fuck around at those lower levels. But for everybody else, because ultimately when you get to that level, up at world level, you'll stay there. You'll stay there because you've had those acid tests. They did it. Right. I thought they were going to do it with Anthony Yard. He won the Southern Area light heavyweight title, and I thought, yeah, great, no problem. And then they got obsessed with rushing him through, boxing just puddings for rankings. Same with Dubois as well, by the way. And then when he came up against Joe Joyce and Anthony Yard came up against Kovalev, and basically somebody hit them back, they didn't know what to do. And look at Yard now from what he was against Kovalev to now. Yeah, he got beat off Peterbiev, but fucking hell, what a performance it was in defeat. And Dubois as well, yeah. Has he had the best career since getting beat off Joyce? No. But I tell you what, though, had he have not basically had that adversity against Joe Joyce, he wouldn't have beat Kevin Lorena. He'd have thingy. He wouldn't have had a clue what to do. But he actually battled back and came through it. And again, getting those acid tests, and just because you get beat as well, by the way, doesn't mean it's career over. You can easily build back, rather than, again, just these pointless ranking belts. And I remember Jason McClory coming on the podcast. God, it would have been a couple of years, maybe longer now. And the one valuable thing he said, which I never actually thought of, is they will do it sometimes because it allows fighters to make weight properly at a championship weight. Rather if there's nothing on the line, it can just be, we'll agree, say it's, it's a light welterweight fight, but we'll agree it at 143 pounds or something. By putting one of these basically bauble belts on the line, it does allow them to make weight. And I never looked at it that way. And I thought, actually, it does mean it's meaningful. You get into the habit of making championship weight, but they shouldn't take over because the rankings are completely false. And the amount of names that we see there, and we just think, that's pathetic. How is he there? Is a joke. Whereas actually, when you earn it, Dan Aziz, for me, he should be top 15 across all 4 sanctioning bodies now by winning that European title. It used to be like that. I'm not sure if it still is now, but for me, that European title belt holds kudos.
Yep.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I agree. It should be top 10. If you are the best in Europe at your weight, you should be in the top 10 in the world without a doubt across all 4 governing bodies. And there is and that is correct. That you can't be a champion at that, at that level and not be in the top 10 in the world for me across all 4 governing bodies.
Agreed.
Well said, boys. Right, that's all the action from the weekend. Unless I have missed anything, let's have a look through the chat room and see who's floating about in there. We've got Mark Stanton is with us. Michael Thompson's there too. Jim 2.0 on Skid Row. That's Jim McDonald Boxing. He's back with a bang. Matt Butters is here as well with us. So is Johnny Horsecock Nelson. Shout out to James Webb, Chris Butler. The Boxing Asylum, that's us. Shout out to us too. Who else we got here? Jack WD, Josh Ford, Nathan Newman, MB, Chris Mason, Darts Legend is in with us as well. Comes to something when he's spending his Sunday evenings with the Asylum. That's what it's come down to on Skid Row, Chris. Who else we got here? Des as well. Shout out to Des, the Dr. FMG listening from Australia. Paul Raftery. Just scrolling on up now. Cedric Sniff is dropping some bombs in the chat. Danny Young as well. He's got his spanner now. He's all happy with himself. Let's have a look. See if we
Well,
can find
Danny was
another
going to go
couple.
through his spanner into the missus.
Yeah, I think he's got kicked out. He's back listening to us again, Andy. I don't think it's gone too well for him.
Could have lasted long then.
Who else we got here? Yimmy Yappy. That's Jimmy Tapner over on LinkedIn. Give him a shout.
And remember, he fingers foxes as well.
He fingers foxes as well when he's not creating. What is it? Recruitment solutions. Do you ever go on LinkedIn, Matty? It's a shit show, isn't it, man?
I avoid that shit. If somebody wants to find me, they know damn well where to do it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a hitman, go and find him. Ben Russell's there as well.
Oh, Jesus, Steve! If there is a hitman looking for you, just make it quick. I'm not even here to stop you at this point in time.
Big up the pod, says the Armenian Eagle. Shout out to the Armenian Eagle. There he is. We'll knock that on the head now. So let's have a look what's coming up next weekend. Then, Matty, we'll start up with you over in Dubai in the Agenda Arena. Has there ever been a more aptly named arena than the Agenda Arena over in Dubai there? Saturday, the 18th of March. Yoel Miller himself, big baby. No drug testing going on here against Lucas Brown. John O'Carroll's on the undercard against Miguel Mariaga. Interesting fight between Sozlan Asbarov, who recently outpointed Dmitry Kudryashov, against Brandon Glanton, who's coming in as the opponent.
I thought that was very interesting fight as well, Steve. And you just might see that fight mentioned again before the end of the podcast.
Oh dear, we've started something now. Yes, Ruslan Fafer, former Andrew Tabiti victim, as Andy mentioned there as well. And
Super Series A.
Yep, exactly. He's quite a tricky switch hitter, Fafer, but he's got 4 losses and a draw on the record, so he's obviously gone on to in the shit bin since I last watched him. Abdul Khan's there as well. And forget about Avnat Hovhannisyan. It's Artrush Hovhannisyan now. A new Marv Nations there, Matty.
So Armenian Eagle is in the chat right there. Armenian Eagle. Is Hovhannisyan basically Smith in Armenia? We see it all the time. I'm just curious.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. What's not to like about this card, Matty? It's a bit of a thriller type of card, I think. Is there going to be any triangular rings maybe making an appearance?
I sure hope not, because a fairly well-matched card. Don't need to throw any fucking crazy shit into it to make it interesting. Like I said, that Glanton fight, very curious for me. I thought personally, Steve, that Glanton, especially I think with the knockdown in the last round of that fight with David Light, mind me, it's been a few months and not exactly recalling it. I thought that Glanton did enough to win that fight. I think I even had him clear by like 96, 93.
I agree.
So it's a really interesting fight here. I mean, coming in against a guy 3-0, and I mean, I'd have to ask Andy if this cat has a serious amateur background. That seems to be more his forte. What the fuck was his name?
Sozlan Asbarov.
He beat Kudryashov last time out.
No, mate. I think he's one of the Russians that's come into the sport kind of late. I think he's about 30 odd.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but yeah, when you got a guy who's taken out a guy like Kudryashov, 3 fights in, you got to be curious. But at the same time, Brandon Glanton showed that he can go the distance. Brandon Glanton showed that he can finish well. So yeah, if this isn't a guy that's going to wax him in the first few rounds, I think this is a competitive fight down the stretch, Steve, and I'm hoping to find a way to potentially watch it over the weekend. This one caught my eye.
Absolutely, it's a competitive fight. The fact they're putting him in with Glanton and previously went in with Kudryashov for all of his limitations is a massive puncher. So I got the same vibe as you. Maybe he was some kind of amateur standout and they were rushing him on through, but apparently not. John O'Carroll, Miguel Mariaga as well in there. Fafer against Montez. Yeah, we'll park that until we come back to the predictions then, as you have teased out that might be making an appearance. Ozzy, we'll go domestic with you, actually. DAZN are back, man. 2 weeks in a row, baby. This time in the Utilita Arena in Newcastle next Saturday evening. I had no knowledge of this card whatsoever before it appeared on the box set schedule.
Yeah, what the fuck is this shit?
Come on, Oz. Polish that shit, Oz. Polish that shit for me,
against
baby. Chris
Jenkins. He's got 6 losses now. Jenkins he's a bit like Maxie Hughes. Maybe he'll turn his career around at some point. Hopey Price going in against Thomas Masson. Solomon Dakers against Robert Ismay for the English heavyweight title. Pat McCormick's there. Maisie Rose Courtney, she's the little dwarfy woman. And Muhammad Ali's getting dragged up. That's how desperate Eddie must be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I think it's one of these next gen cards, isn't it? Next weekend on Saturday, back up in Newcastle. Cyrus Patterson headlining against Chris Jenkins. I'm a Chris Jenkins fan. You know, his record does not say the full story. And last time out, you know, he boxed Tyrone McKenna and he got fucking robbed. He beat Tyrone McKenna.
Yeah,
you know, McKenna,
he did get hosed on that one.
He did. Absolutely, he did. And that is the story of of Chris Jenkins' career. Robbed and cuts. Put them together. It's an awful combination.
I think the McKenna fight was a robbery. I was ringside for that. I thought it was a close fight, to be honest.
Yeah, but you're biased, Steve, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You know, you're completely biased when it comes to Tyrone McKenna.
It's that Wolverhampton bullshit, Oz. It's that Wolverhampton bullshit.
He told me, Steve told me Tyrone McKenna was the next big thing at light welterweight. And,
he is pretty tall.
You said he was destined for a world title, so back in the younger days. So, yeah, clear bias, but no.
The kiss of death.
Yeah, I'm only winding him up. But no, I personally thought Jenkins was robbed on that. I thought he was a clear winner personally. It was, I say robbed. It was close, but I thought it was one of them where it was close, but an obvious winner. This is a massive step up for Cyrus Patterson. Absolutely huge. This is another guy who I think has turned over. I'm pretty sure he was a decorated amateur. You know, you look at his record and he's been with absolutely nobody of note. Until basically it's going to be Jenkins on Saturday. I think there's a reason they're picking Jenkins. You know, Jenkins is not the fighter that you can say he once was. You know, he's had like I say, prior to that, he got banged out of Florian Marku, was winning the fight beforehand. And then Echo Esserman give him a good, basically beating up as well. I think he ended up with, you know, broken nose, busted ribs. It's an interesting fight. If Jenkins has had a full camp for this, if Jenkins has got one last performance in him, you know, because he can box, you know, he's not just, you know, one trick pony. He's actually got a decent style. He can make it difficult for Patterson without a doubt. His issue is, and it's like for a lot of these things with Jenkins, he just doesn't have the power to, you know, to really hurt people. But, you know, he, like I said, he showed enough in that McKenna fight that there's still something there. I think Patterson might be a bit too fresh for him, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if he got him out of there. But to counteract it, if I saw Jenkins give him a hard night and this was like a bit of a coin flip decision, again, it wouldn't surprise me, because after 5, to be boxing Chris Jenkins in your 6th fight, this is a big step up, and I think this is really good matchmaking, and it'll, if you can go out there and blitz him, you know, early, that's a big statement for me. Hopey Price, again, this is a fighter that, you know, apparently he's got bags of talent. I just can't get on board with him whatsoever. You know, he's had opportunities on telly. Again, not really boxed anybody of note as such. These random, you know, like South Americans, Spaniards. He just keeps going. He goes the distance with him, and he's not great to watch. He's got a French guy, Thomas Masson, who I think had a massively padded record for a little while. But again, I don't think he's ultimately very good. I think, you know, this has got price points written all over it. Sol Dakers, again, you know, heavyweight, another one who we've spoken about before, you know, again, turned over as an amateur. Doesn't really look like he's got the power at heavyweight at the moment. You know, he's gone the distance with all but one of his opponents so far. This is a big opportunity for Robert Ismay. 35, you know, what's it for? This British title, English title, sorry. Never heard of him, basically. Never heard of him. But it looks like he's making a comeback because he made his debut back in 2011. And now, yeah, he basically had a long time out, came back in 2019. And yeah, look, I think, to be honest,
the Nigerian guy we were talking about before, and Des seemed to know something about him. Or am I getting him completely mixed up with somebody else? So it just came to my mind there when you mentioned him. You know,
completely mixed up, Steve. Robert Ismay is a white male born in Newcastle.
Oh, right, okay. Close.
Yeah, quite close, but yeah, not to be. But yeah, I think, look, this is his opportunity. This is his big night. I think Dakers should realistically, purely through, you know, being able to overwhelm him and that, you know, letting his shots go, I think he will get Ismay out of there. Pat McCormack, you know, once of Probellum, I think it's his first or second fight under Matchroom against some, again, this is my point. You know, we bang on about apparently how good of an amateur he is. You know, he's top class, he's world class, he's this and that. Why the fuck is he boxing somebody called Dario Socci, who's 15-7 with 2 draws, a 34-year-old Italian, you know, who is basically shit. You know, Troy Williamson, it's like pointless. What do we achieve from this? Absolutely nothing. And this is the matchmaking that we're on about. It's not good. They don't learn anything from it. Absolutely nothing. Callum French, another amateur, you know, who's turning over.
Just real quick, I think that's the issue right now is like a lot of the matchmaking is kind of gone from the sport. And you have these guys with these big bankrolls who know how to talk their way into getting big fighters who might be able to put asses in seats. But the creation of the guy to fill their void, to eventually challenge them and maybe take that mantle, these guys today are completely incapable of that task.
I completely agree. Completely agree. But in all honesty, though, I haven't got a clue if these guys actually do a load of tickets. You know, like they're apparent, you know, like quite well liked, but then actually you roll them out there. You know, they always say Pete McGrail's loved by Liverpool. There's no fucker there watching him. So, you know, like how loved are you? He's just like a big name from where people speak about him. Ultimately, you're a big name if you can put bums on seats. And Johnny Fisher is one of the biggest names in British boxing at the moment because he'll go anywhere and he takes about 2,000 people from Essex with him. It's true.
His arse could cover about 10 seats at the same time.
No, that's John Fisher, not Johnny. Don't get him put. Yeah. Anyway, the rest of the card itself, you know, Callum French against Jordan Ellison. Jordan Ellison, so he's a proper journeyman. He will come to win. It could get stopped, actually, you know, purely because he'd be trying to win. Bit of a derby, actually, as well, you know, French Ellison. And then the rest, I don't really know who a lot of these people are. As there's a midget there, according to Steve Boxing, Maisie Rose Courtney. Muhammad Ali's making a comeback against Sean Jackson down at the weights as well. So,
some proper shit.
Yeah, it literally is. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't mind them as like next gen cards, but for me, you could have a couple more. This is where I think they're primed for, you know, like an area title fight. But actually, if you look at it, you've got Pattinson Jenkins. That's a good fight. That it's for a WBA belt. Fine. It doesn't need the belt to make it. I think that's a good fight. Dakers is boxing for an English title. If they're steering him that way, English, you know, domestically, fine. You don't mind that. Hopi Price against Thomas Masson is not particularly good. Again, people aren't going to be racing back to watch Hopi Price. It's not a good fight. And then the rest of it is just, you know, essentially, you know, young prospects against the majority is just crap, basically. Just not good. And, you know, the $1 billion deal that Eduardo signed just seems a million miles away from what it was because the quality of card that is being rolled out is just shit, basically. And, you know, has he taken too much on? Is it a problem matchmaking? You know, you see guys that will get onto it, like people like Michael McKinson. He's fucking headlining a show in Italy, you know, on an 8-rounder. You know, so there's fighters there and they want to fight. It's actually
South Africa fighting in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Jermaine Brown, another one, again, who has boxed a lot on the road, but again, they're going over there. It's odd that, you know, they bang on about matchmaking. Well, these lads are willing to travel to other countries to get opportunities. Why are we not seeing it more in the UK? Your bread and butter is in the UK. And, you know, again, Eddie was saying, you know, he's come out and said, oh, you know, the Joshua tickets, you know, it's been an incredibly difficult sell. That's because the fight is wank. That is why it is a difficult
coming off
sell.
Of 2 losses. Like, the allure fucking starts to fizzle at some fucking point in time.
Massively, yeah. And also as well, you know, I think they basically relied on Joshua, basically, you know, just basically selling the thing himself. Is there even an undercard fight on? There's a couple of them. Matteo Signani against Felix Cash, European title fight. No issue with that. And Craig Richards, Richard Bolotniks. Again, not bad. But that's it. You've got 3 fights on it. So ultimately, that's where you need to. You shove, like I said, these lower level fights on from where they've got to flog some tickets. They might do 2,000 between 2 fights, maybe more. So yeah, we're going back to the same thing, but it's about quality. And ultimately, I'm not just singling out DAZN either, by the way. But again, from what we've seen on BT, and Sky as well, the British product is not in a good place at the moment. It stinks, really.
It's in the fucking toilet. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
And you think the British product's in the toilet? You've alerted me to this card in Canada next weekend. Joe Ward's on the undercard, which is fair enough. They've got a good old domestic scrap between Matteo Germain and Stephen Wilcox going the traditional route, then, boys.
I think it's pronounced Matthew.
Oh, sorry. Matthew German. And Jean Pascal in the main event against a real German, Michael Effort, which apparently he's going to put the effort in to try and win this IBF Eliminator. So Jean Pascal, the ghost, continues to haunt us next Thursday evening.
And the thing is, mate, Matty just made me aware that this is actually the final eliminator for the IBF title. I've seen a bit of Michael Eifert, I think that's how it's pronounced. German champ. He's been through the IBF youth routes, not youth titles, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So he's got his ranking somehow, mate. But this is shit. This is exactly this is shit. I mean that he's got a loss, and I think he then won against Tom Zimanski. I think it is a guy again German level, maybe fringe EU second tier European level. But I don't know what age Pascal is these days, but I'd be expecting Pascal.
You might be able to jab and move against him at that age if you can keep your range and keep your stick in his face.
He's not going to win the fight like that, though. Not in Canada.
I think. I mean, I think that honestly, I might be proven wrong, but I think the fight against Meng was more positioned as an eliminator than this. This is kind of junk.
I could see Pascal getting rid of him, especially if he's on the superroids, and this guy's a non-puncher who's going to run like Sebastian Formello, isn't he? I can see a stoppage
in Pascal's defense, I think this is the one that Boazzi didn't take.
But the thing is,
you're right. Yeah. No, you're right. This is it. You're spot on, Matty. Yeah, because this is the one that Warren won the bid for, didn't he? It was going to happen in the UK. Pascal, Boazzi, and Boazzi pulled out.
And the thing is, as well, this German's never even been in a scheduled 12-rounder before.
And now he's in a world title eliminator.
And I say he's clearly got the title shot by, as I say, he's paid sanction fees to the IBF for intercontinental routes. I get the youth title as well at some point. He's a German champ. I don't know how much stock gets put into getting ranking points these days. I don't know if there's been any other belts that he's picked up, but somehow he's played the rankings game, and here he is, lo and behold, final eliminator against Jean Pascal next weekend. The mind boggles. This is what I'm talking about. Light heavyweight. Dan Aziz could come out here right now and say, "I'm more deserving," but that guy is.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm going to say Pascal.
He's getting paid to go to Canada. Andy, the home of some of the finest pussy in the world. Lord be with you.
But I don't know what to say about the fight. I mean, again, I don't know what Pascal is at this point. I've not seen Pascal probably since.
Mate, he fought Meng on ProBox a few months ago.
Yeah, but the Bivol, I mean, again, he's washed. The guy just pulled up 40-year-old. He's been done twice now for drugs. Served no ban, right? So again, what is he rather enrolled? Is he going to be a roided up Jean Pascal? Remember, he came back there. Who was the two wins against? He came back like fight of the year type potential. I think he'd fought Bivol and then he fought Marcus Brown, or was it Brown and was it Brown and Badou Jack? And people were saying him, he's fight of the year, come back of the year. Yeah, because he was on fucking roids. Served no ban for it, and here he comes. He's coming again, another title shot. Potentially at 40-year-old. Is he been drug tested? Is he going to come out here looking like another roided up, Roy Jones, smash a guy out there late or whatever? And that? Who knows? Again, but the guy he's fighting just isn't qualified. Unless Pascal's completely shot, and he just takes one shot and he goes over, which I don't think. Pascal's always had a solid beard, but this guy's fighting, mate. It's just he's not good enough for world title level.
Pascal's not going to lose to this fella.
No, I mean, mate, come on. He's not a decision anyway in Canada. But again, unregulated, is he being tested? Is he getting the benefit of recent or past drug use? Of course he is. So it's bollocks. And the fact is that this guy could get another world title shot who would put him in line to fight Beterbiev. I mean, fucking Beterbiev would fucking mutilate Pascal at this point. You think Kovalev done him bad over, was it 2 fights? Especially the first fight.
I'm fucking sick of him. Evening, guys. I'm fucking sick of Pascal.
Where did you come from, Rob? Go on.
They let me off the mothership. What was it? I fucking swear to God, right? But I think B-Hop was like nearly 12 years ago when B-Hop took his soul. Kovalev nearly fucking killed him twice, right? And like Andy says, he's like one of those fucking things you hit him and then he just pops back up like full of roids. Not enrolled in any fucking clean boxing programs, but
fucking
what the fuck does that matter?
Myers.
I mean, like for a while he was getting criticism because he wasn't enrolled in the WBC clean boxing. Well, what fucking difference does that make? Because if he gets popped, they'll just fucking come up with a defense for him as well. So what are you here for, John? Let me see. I hear are eggs popular in your fucking in Quebec or whatever the fuck? Let's see what we can come up with here. Don't worry about it. Sit this one out.
You just said, yeah, WBC, I won't be involved with your shit. I'm going IBF, baby. Fuck you.
IVF, he's going to cunt. Fucking hell, like I don't know, man. Yeah, I've had me. I feel like fighters like him, like you can put a few fighters from last night or over the weekend into this category, but like Tony Harrison, Yoka, Pascal, you're just taking up too much bandwidth in boxing. You've had your fucking little moment. Get the fuck out of it now. Clear the way for the next generation. Like stop hogging the fucking. Like we're talking about Canadian fight cards. Give me a break.
Pick up Dan Aziz, Rob.
Dan Aziz, yeah, I'm boxer all day, Ben Shalom, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to walk away from boxing, though, Rob, when you look back to your homeland and you realize the check you're getting is like 1/100th of their GDP.
Life's not fair, though, Rob. I'll tell you what is fair. The Matrix podcast have slid into the chat here. We are a new podcast channel. Appreciate it if you checked us out. And there's the logo down the rabbit hole.
Listen.
Yeah, baby.
We're all about escaping the Matrix here on the Asylum, right?
I'll tell you what, what's the name of that, the Matrix podcast? You drop in there a £20 super chat and we'll fucking make sure.
I'll check it out.
We might check it out, mate. We might give you a wee review. Maybe you can give you a 5-star review if you're feeling so kind.
All the love to the Matrix podcast, but may I just recommend to the people after being down the rabbit hole, take the fucking blue pill. For the love of God. The red pill makes you miserable life.
The blue pill all the way, mate. The blue pill makes you hard, though.
I never seen that fucking shitty movie, The Matrix. Any of them? I couldn't tell you what happened in it, but I don't listen to Maddie. Is the advice there? Can the Matrix podcast get Peter Hyatt to go and do our fucking Conor Benn analysis? Not that I don't think we need him after his fucking interview.
Absolutely.
Matty's paid opposition.
I'm telling you, Steve. In about 10 years, we're going to see Rob on the BBC claiming that he's Jesus Christ.
I don't think you're going to see him on the BBC. Maybe presenting Match of the Day.
Well, I've been on the BBC a couple of times for various.
We're not talking about what you did with the Wu-Tang Clan backstage. Quit talking about the BBC, Rob.
Jesus, Mary.
That's a zinger, motherfucker.
The only thing I smoked with the Wu-Tang Clan was weed, baby. What was I going to say to you?
Did you go down under this weekend, Rob? A bit of Tszyu Harrison?
Yeah. So did Baumgartner. Apparently, is Harrison smashing that or what's the crack? That was a very Richard Keys, wasn't it? That's not very pattern. Harrison hanging out the back of that any night of the weekend.
Well, Tony's choice of whether he wants to be a trainer or a fighter just got a little bit easier.
Yeah. I mean, look, fucking Tszyu answered a lot of questions. Well, I don't know if he answered a lot of questions. I think I thought Harrison do better in the fight, right? I think a lot of Americans gave Harrison a better chance in the fight, and I did think there'd be periods where he'd old man him before he gasped, but he didn't even get a chance to old man him. He was just fucking going through him, winging shots. He's crude, he's strong, he's big. He's setting up a great fight with Charlo, setting up for a fight that could be a shootout with Charlo. I think he has potential to draw. His personality has potential to draw Charlo into some interesting exchanges. So brilliant win for him, man. Absolutely fantastic. Harrison, I thought the ref could have maybe got in a couple of seconds early, man. Jesus Christ. It's like a computer game towards the end. Like he's like a Rocky movie, wasn't he? He's hanging out over the rope. Baumgartner's in the back. Go, throw in the towels. He's just fucking shouting in the background like
he's like a Butch for Rocky when Apollo Creed's getting his cunt
Yeah, yeah.
against Dolph
Against
Lundgren.
Drago, yeah.
No, in the
Yeah, so fucking good. I look a good weekend of action. Bit sorry I didn't stick a few quid on Daryl Foley. I thought about it during the week. I thought fucking hell I did. When I saw his interview when he said that we didn't come here to fornicate with the arachnoids. I said fucking hell, man, this guy's brilliant. Because I remember his fight against Ty Telford and putting out, like, saying it to Andy, well, you gotta watch this fucking fight. Like, Andy went and got a copy because we couldn't get it anywhere on YouTube. Like, and like his career since then has been mad because he's had like a couple of fights in Australia and they've all been like 8-rounders or fight, but they've all been absolute fucking wars and he's won all of them. Like, so he was in really good form coming in and came in at late notice, but obviously a horrible injury to Davis and the way to end it is fucking sad for him. Like, it could be a potential career ender, but hopefully Foley gets on that fucking card, the Taylor card that was announced for Dublin, and gets himself a little few quid for that. Like, because that was a good performance and he had rocked fucking Davis to his socks before the stoppage as well. So that was good. I thought Pacheco's expected performance. Yeah, so a good all-round week. I don't know what's the prediction league standings at the moment. I think I lost some points today.
You lost some credibility, Rob. What's going on, Matty?
I don't think I have much credibility to start with, Steve, to be honest with you. I don't want to lose much more. Fuck's sake.
After our incredible debate this weekend about where points should go, let's see here. I had a perfect week, by the way. I have done very well with perfect weeks, but I also have had more 0-point weeks than anybody as well. It's kind of feast or famine for me. Fuck you, Andy.
Like, get to it, man. What's the league?
So, Rob, right now you're sitting at 38 points.
Woo.
Oz is at 37 points. The only thing really separating you is that I didn't give Oz the extra point for a perfect week a couple back because he wasn't in attendance, and attendance.
Well, that sounds like a fair rule to me. To be honest with you,
he's a cheat. Kick him out, Matty.
He's a real motherfucker. I'm telling you. But so, and Steve, you're at 29, so you're not out of it. And something interesting about your score as I was scrolling through, Steve, is you're kind of steady Eddie. You have not had a single perfect week.
Oh.
But you have, I don't believe you've had a 0
even in steady Eddie.
You just points here, there, points
I'm
everywhere.
under no pressure, Matty, after my double win last year, man. I'm just kind of like in journeyman mode. I'm a gatekeeper.
No, you're fine. You can go back to cursing other people's careers all you want.
He's like Man City, Steve, isn't he? He's just going to kick into gear and blow everybody away. Like, he's just keeping pace at the moment.
But this is what I think. This is what matters to me right now. Is in the basement. I'm 1 point ahead of Andy at this point in time. So I'm just fighting not to lose at this point in time. So fucking
relegation battle.
And this week, since I was so frustrated, you can consider the fights I'm choosing. This week is going to be titled Maddie's Revenge. So
you know your whole this weekend, I take it then. You're saying you're frustrated.
Oof.
Don't piss off an Italian, Andy. A lot of people have pissed me off before the years.
Right. So as we get onto the prediction league, then, Matty, is it going to feature anything from this DAZN card? Because this is what I'm asking you about next. It's a bit shit. It's got Gilberto Ramirez against Gabe Rosado, Jojo Diaz against Masito Gesta, and Oscar Duarte fighting a guy who lost to Michael McKinson. So is that featured at all, Matty?
Sure is.
Imagine you're the fucking matchmaker that served that shit up.
Man. Fucking hell. Oscar needs to get off that gear again, man. Back in rehab. Sort this shit out. Fucking hell.
Gilberto Ramirez versus Gabe Rosado.
Gabe Rosado, man.
Here you go. Hey, I'll throw the Oz. Guess which fight is going to be in the league?
Oh, fuck. Go on, Oz. Tell me fuck off.
Well, I requested for Lucas Brown, Jarrell Miller to be included.
Well, we all knew what I was going to do to your suggestion.
Well, here, Matty, on the Ramirez Rosado undercard, look at this guy from Hawaii, Dallas Kaleapu. Look at his birth name. Get him in the prediction league, man.
Dallas Leia K.O.K. Kai Kyla Upo. Fuck me. That guy's name is longer than me. Fuck oh my God. My full name is 24 letters long, and he fucking wins. Jesus
there you go.
Christ.
Al Caliopo. Right, who's in the predictions then, Matty? Go ahead.
Well, the one that we're going to pick off of that card is going to be Yesta against Jojo Diaz, which I do think is actually reasonably interesting. Yesta was planned opponent for Ryan Garcia, so he's going to be in good form right now. Jojo Diaz took a pretty nasty beating off of Zepeda. I do think that Yesta is going to be a pretty reasonable underdog in this one, to be honest with you. But man, a guy coming off of a big defeat like that against a guy like Yesta, a lot of experience. He's been in the gym preparing lately. I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting than the books would speak of.
I mean, that's a battle of Uber wash, that fucking fight, man. Come on. You're not putting that in the prediction league, are you?
Oh, I sure am.
Oh,
I told you this week is Maddie's revenge. Sorry, Andy, you're not going to win. I'm not going to win. Just fucking kick back with me and enjoy it.
You're a cock drainage, by the way. You ken that?
What's that?
Cock drainage. A fanny.
Oh, I thought you'd be happy if something drained
Come
your
on.
cock.
I need to watch Jojo. I need to pick Jojo Diaz. I need to fucking pay attention to him next week. A guy who is questionable character, right? Mixes with the right bunch of guys, neglects his bairns, and I've got to give a fuck about his fight next week.
You're going moral high ground, and you've like been to multiple fights with Tommy. Don't even try. Come on.
Yeah, but at least we didn't abuse your kids.
Yeah, you shouldn't abuse kids. That's a great message. Let's take this moment as a public service announcement. Don't abuse your children. Neither physically, sexually, or mentally. Do not abuse children. Thank you for bringing up such a pertinent topic, Andy. I think it's
better putting in Rosado against Ramirez rather than shit.
Maddie, you're sounding very. The frustration is coming across a lot in your voice. You're getting a lot sterner lately. You used to be a lot more fun. Look at you now. You're very fucking. This prediction league is taking over your life, man. You need to fucking. It's only a game.
He's off
Relax.
the weed, man.
No, this is going to be the last season, and these last 3 weeks are going to be fucking fun for me. Nobody but me. So,
Great.
But you still get it wrong, though. So what the fuck?
So what fight are we doing then? What fight are we doing?
Right, you do the picks then, Matty.
All right. So let's start out. So this is the zone card. Well, let's talk about Rosado versus Ramirez. Just real.
Let's not.
Before we even move on, I'm just kind of curious if Rosado can go the distance with this at 175 pounds. If he's going to be in there to spoil it, or if he's going to be in there.
Gamekeeper.
If he wants to go in there and but if he wants to go in there and trade with Ramirez, I actually think there could be some fun moments in this fight.
Rob, drop the beats here, man.
But I don't know. I just can't. Man, Rosado going the distance at 175 if Ramirez is willing to put him together. I don't know. So I don't know. Could be some interesting moments in that fight just for entertainment. But let's see here. So first up, we will do the Mercito Yesta against Jojo Diaz fight. And first up on that one in my imaginal sack of papers is going to be Andy.
Fuck this prediction league, man. I'm telling you.
Okay. Andy's not putting in a pick. All right. Next up.
Diaz points.
All right.
Fucking pish, man.
See, Andy secretly just can't lose to me. Like, that's what he thinks. All right.
No, I just think this is fucking pish.
All right.
Next fights that mean shit all, man.
You're fucking ain't right. Yeah. All right. Oz.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Diaz Rob.
Tell him the same, Rob.
I don't know. I guess let me. Who's guess that got stopped by? He's lost by stoppage to fucking. Lost to UD de Linares, lost to Rodriguez, Miguel Vasquez.
Watch this motherfucker, by the way. If you all go Diaz on points, you'll ask for the over-under or what the guy, by how many rounds.
Jojo's just chubby at 135, though. He's just not a.
Yeah, it's gonna be Diaz points. I don't think. Yeah, it's gonna be Diaz points, isn't it?
All right, Steve Diaz. Where are you going?
Yeah, Diaz points.
Right. No! Oh no!
I have nothing to fucking lose here. So let's see here. I'm gonna go with Yesta on points. I think it'll probably be a split. What does it fucking matter at this point in time? My money's going out the window to either you or Oz. So the best I can do is make it interesting along the way.
Oh, so we're not doing a full calendar year this time, maybe, no?
What's that? No, this is just the 3 months.
Andy, don't start asking him the fucking rules now. 5 to 10. For fuck's sake.
Ozzy asked you, so what's the rules to this prediction? Like I says, Ozzy, there are no rules. And the thing is, sometimes those no rules are liable to change. Fuck.
Like I said, I just thought it was a fucking league between us just for the crack. And then
Oh, serious
things
shit,
of
man.
things of cash were being mentioned. I'm like, I didn't even know this thing existed properly.
So Ozzy finally woke up to the game.
Steve, I want you to understand that part of why I'm making this hell is not just for me, it's also for you.
Yeah, because he said all this shit and you weren't listening to him.
For all those times that we have formed these beautiful questions for these guys just to say, what are we talking about? For every time that we have clearly stated something and they say, well, I don't remember that.
Yeah, what's my memory's not what it was. Do you know what I mean?
Every punched the head
every hour we have put into this shit just to have them walk in and be like, what's going on? This is for us, Steve. So just enjoy this fucking ride with me. What's the name of Brandon Glanton's opponent again?
Oh shit, I can't remember. Brazilov or something, was it? Yeah, Sozlan Asbarov.
Sozlan Asbarov.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. And for that, all right. So we're going to be picking that one next. So let's see here. And first up on that one is Oz.
Glanton decision.
Dude, I'm kind of feeling that experience gap too. So, I might curse you there, but let's see here.
Mate, this Russian guy got a majority decision win over some punk called Oleg Fomichev on his debut. It was crap. So I know he beat Kudryashov and stuff like that, but let's be like, I know Kudryashov can bang, but he's absolutely washed.
True.
So, so I'm not reading. Of course, yeah, he can clearly dig, but you do wonder how much power he's got left now. And then he beat some guy called Joel Shodgreen, a 40-year-old American, who again has been in with absolutely nobody. So
Joel Shodgreen's nickname as well, Ozzy. I thought at first it was the Panther, but it's not. It's actually the Panther.
The Panther, yeah, I've just seen that. Yeah, the Panther.
heavy breathing.
The Pantera.
Yeah.
Use of that going on.
I think, like you said in that David Light fight, you can argue that he beat him. And again, he's got a couple of other, more meaningful wins. So, yeah, I think, it's a massive step up. He's not going to coming over to roll over and get beat. So, yeah.
And he can handle a war, man. Steve, you remember that fight with F.A. Apache?
Great fight, man.
He can go to war.
Yeah,
great fight. Yeah, I wonder why they've made this fight. It just makes no sense at all, does it, mate? You'd almost think there was some cash being washed in the agenda arena or something.
Or they're really high on Asbarov, or they're, this is
you could get high on Asbarov if you get exposed too much, I suppose. Sorry, Ozzy, go ahead.
If you crush up enough of it, I hear it's fucking...
Well, I was going to talk from basically a betting perspective, but I bet you can't even get a price on this.
You probably
I haven't seen anything yet, but we'll find. Usually by Wednesday evening my time, anything that's gonna be up is up.
If I asked a UK bookie to price up Sozlan Asbarov against Brandon Glanton, I think they'd just look at it and go, "What the hell is that?" and just wouldn't reply. I'd be impressed if they did price it up, but yeah, they're not going to be doing that. There's more chance of pricing up the main event: Jarrell Miller against Lucas Big Daddy Brown.
Fucking hell.
Fight of the weekend, that.
I had Miller within 3 rounds. Fucking
no way. No way.
Fucking
no.
He's a tank, and this fucking Brown is
he's
old
300
as
pound of
fuck.
flabby mess. No, he's
Miller
not.
will beat Brown, surely, won't he? Do you not think? Miller will beat Brown.
I'm not sure, mate. Big Daddy.
10 rounds against some fucking bum in
All right,
Colombia.
I'll tell you what. I'll be nice. I'll wipe Diaz versus Yesta, and we'll put this in there. I'll wipe it. I'll give that to you guys.
Okay, I'll go Miller points.
Shut the fuck up! I didn't say it was your turn.
We're gonna have to fucking remove him as head of the power's gone to his head, man. He's a totalitarian fucking leader.
God,
I tell you what,
I've gone from Angela Merkel to fucking Pinochet because
I bet right now, I bet I wouldn't even come bolting the prediction league, Matty, even if I didn't make another pick between now and the end of the season, right? Because you still fucking lose.
All right, well, I'm fucking pulling papers right now. We'll get back to Asbarov and Glanton. Oz's pick Glanton points. We'll go back. I have first pick on this. I'm going Miller stoppage. Next up is Rob.
That's a no pick.
Yeah, he
You
didn't
know,
pick.
unofficial timer. You know, let's create a new rule. Yeah, he didn't pick.
He's going to try and pick during the week, isn't he, man? He's on. No, get him out of here.
Rob's protesting, which I like.
Still remaining silent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No pick. Void.
Rob, did you leave? Oh, Jesus Christ. You guys make my life so difficult. And Steve's. Don't forget Steve's here, too.
Yeah. Which fight are we on again, sorry?
Lucas Brown against Gerald Miller. Somehow we got there, Steve.
Is it 10 or 12?
Unknown.
Doesn't that matter, Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, 10 round. 10. 10 it is, 10.
The fatties are going to gas. Miller on points for me.
Really? Points. Interesting.
Yeah. 12, and I thought he might stop him, but I'll go for points.
All right. Andy.
I already told you what my prediction was.
I don't remember what it was.
He's Miller on points as well.
You're smoking too much hay these days.
Ooh, haymaker.
Footballs.
Oh, he's up to 5
Rob,
haymaker by
Rob.
Squad. Una Healy subs off after 60 minutes and he's got someone else in a fucking...
Well, you allowed 5 substitutes now, Bob.
Squad rotation, that's what it's about, baby. Quality.
I'll tell you what, Matty, I bet David Hayes take the fucking blue pill these days. I can guarantee you that.
Jesus Christ, man.
He's in the Matrix podcast. Sorry, Matty.
All right, Rob, are you with us now?
Just about, dude. Yeah, just about.
Miller against fucking Brown.
What's everybody else gone? Andy's gone points. Steve has gone points. What's Ozzy gone?
Ozzy hasn't gone yet. I want Miller stoppage.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Miller will stop him, but now that you said it, you're like, you know, the fucking coffee cake out of the Bronx Tale. Put him in the back. I'm going Miller points.
Oz.
It's going to bite me on the arse, and I've backed with him before.
Oh, he's going Brown.
I am going Brown. Mate, Jarrell Miller is wank. He was roided up, and that's like...
It was Brown, man. Come on, Ozzy.
Yeah, but right, I tell you what, at least Lucas Brown is coming off a couple of legit wins. He banged out that junior far, didn't he?
That was a huge huge odds on that too, Oz.
Mate, that is a legit win. That wasn't, you know, like just this punt. That is a legit win. Whereas Jarrell Miller in his last 2 fights, he lost rounds to that fucking Ariel Bracamonte. He's absolutely terrible. Big fat slobby Argentinian, you know, and he's fucking losing rounds to him. And then
Lucas Brown have more than 2 or 3 rounds in him anymore? No. Yeah, he took out Junior Fa in a round. Did he have another
rugby
one?
guy? The rugby guy knocked him out fucking Spargo as well, didn't he? The fellow who played the boxer for his life fucking sparked him.
I watched that, you know, illegal blow to the head. You know, I'm completely against that.
I'm looking forward to the fight, you know.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going Big Daddy Brown, one last upset win. Mate, Miller's crap. He weighed in.
Are you going stoppage or points? You really think Brown has 10 rounds in him? You're gonna wager your position in this league on Lucas Brown being able to go 12 or go 10 rounds?
Well, technically, nobody else was picked in that Glanton fight either, so
you did.
I could have a pretty right. Yeah, there's only me who's picked in it, nobody else.
That's true.
Miller was 328 in his last fight, man. I hope the ring's reinforced in Dubai.
He makes Big John Fisher look small, does Jarrell Miller.
It's
so,
cheap night on Saturday night for Jarrell.
Yeah.
I'm team fat fuck all the way, man.
HGH in that, mate. Is that what you're talking about?
Every night's cheat night for old Jarrell, isn't it?
I'm gonna go. I think. I'm gonna go Brown on. I'll go Brown points, but I've got a horrible feeling. I think he'll stop him. He can really dig Lucas Brown. He really can. And Miller is just this. He's just crap.
Remember Dillian White sent him to the fucking shadow realm? Fuck me, man. Literally dropped him on his fucking face.
Brown got knocked out by Dave Allen, man.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, this could be a real bad pick for me, but yeah, I'm literally going off that Junior Far one from where he came in and just showed no respect to Far and he sent him into orbit. So yeah, I think Jarrell Miller, you know, he's not going to be roided up on his like Larry Oliver Bamiwo cocktail of drugs. So yeah, I think Lucas Brown, he's out in Dubai already.
I wouldn't fucking bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it.
Oh, yeah,
I tell you what.
true, yeah.
I tell you what. I don't think he comes across as a fella who's learned his lesson.
Well, no, that's true. Yeah,
I'm changing.
Yeah,
Can I change? I want to go for Miller KO. You know, the more I think of it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going to go the same. I'm changing it. Miller KO.
Ozzy's convinced me.
Exactly. It's the same. Me and Ozzy was talking to myself. Yeah, I'm going to knockout.
All right, cool. New rule: everybody can change a pick midway except Rob. All right, so 3 of us Miller stoppage, Rob Miller points, Oz Brown points.
Jesus, yeah.
Do you want to change, Rob? Honestly, you can go stop it if you want.
Yeah, that Gallon knockout is making me think about the fucking knockout. Yeah,
I'm just looking at all of you guys thinking, you think either of these fucks is going 10 rounds? Like, someone's going to fall over dead whether anyone, quote-unquote, wins the fight.
There's one for you, Matty. Danny Young says both Brown and Miller's piss will look like a can of Mountain Dew.
So Rob,
Brown piss.
Are you sticking?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Miller KO. Focus.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Me too.
What a clusterfuck, by the way.
This is a great. I had it very well organized at the beginning, but as nobody pays attention, here we are, Andy. So it started organized. It will end in chaos, just as everybody wanted. Let's see here. So we're at Asperov versus Glanton now, and Oz has picked Glanton on points at this point in time. Next up is Steve.
Yeah, that's the sensible pick, isn't it, man? Glanton, surely, with the experience, and he's gone. The Apache fight, whenever you mentioned that, made me think, this Asperov, though, they must be putting him in for a reason, but his form shows Glanton points, maybe even late stoppage. I'll stick with points, though. He's more seasoned.
All right. And then we have Andy.
Glanton points.
All right. I'm next, and I'm sitting here wondering if I should go Asperov just because if you guys miss and I get a perfect week, I'm not as dead in the world. You know what? I'm gonna go Glanton by stoppage just to make a little bit of difference because going that many rounds against a guy who's done it and is good late, that's a little bit of a rough ask. Rob.
Glanton, Super Bampton, points.
All right. That's interesting. All right. So interesting. Oz is all alone on one. I am all alone on one. But, man, you're all alone. Oz is a little bit different than mine, my friend. That is Luke. Your hill to die on is Lucas Brown. I salute you, sir. You are a true gambler at heart.
I've just got this weird feeling that he beats him. I really do. You know, he's loving life. He's in Dubai now. He's prepared well.
He hasn't gone to prison?
Big Daddy.
He's living in Dubai. He hasn't found his way into prison. I can't see him sticking with all the fucking societal norms there very well.
Literally. You know what? I have backed this guy against Paul Gallen, against Dave Allen, and he's been banged out brutally twice. Third time looking.
So as long as this fella's name doesn't rhyme with Gallen, you're grand.
I was thinking Fallon Sherrick.
Right on. All right. Well, we got through it, Steve. I think in one of the more entertaining ways fucking you possibly could. There was certainly a different banter aspect this time.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Matty. Jim 2.0 makes a good point there. Don't forget to hit that like button, fellas. Come on, let's see if we can get up to 50 at least. Fuck's sake, get the fellas some likes up. Episode 514, Matty's here, Ozzy's here.
There's more likes on the fucking Boxing Nutters call-in than there is on the real fucking pod. The fucking boys are all liking. They all like their own voice. They're like, fuck these idiots. We talk to each other. Fucking get a life.
That's Joe Kennedy from all his burner accounts, Rob.
I listened to the Nutters, actually. It was actually good chat laying in the corner bend like that. So big up the boys.
I listened to it and I heard Steve Wellington say, as the great Snoop Dogg once said, if it ain't one thing, it's the motherfucking other. I said, who the fuck? That sounds very fucking familiar, actually. Sounds like I'm and the boys were all laughing. Oh, Steve. I was like, oh, come on, lads. Having our own pod. It's better. It's fucking more of a success than this one. It's good now. It's good listening. Fair play to the boys. Good stuff.
It is. Danny's doing a good job there. Over on the Nutters call-ins.
Danny's very good, yeah, very good.
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah.
Rest of them, shit. No, I'm joking.
We'll never forget. Right, let's get on to Belly of the Week, episode 514. Eddie's been chatting, as he tends to do, to the video cameras this week.
Eddie?
He's been kicking off. Ames has been into him. Dominic Henry sent me the video clip. I didn't manage to watch it, unfortunately, but I did get this out of it.
When are you guys out there gonna start understanding? Right? It's not about the money. I'll fight him for free. As long as the tickets are free for the general public, fuck off. You want money, you want too much money, you're not the draw you think you are. That fight's not as big as you think it is. Everyone talks about big fights in the Middle East for heavyweight world championship. Well, guess what? There's only one person that's delivered big fights in the Middle East, and that is moi. Right? 3 fights, 3 world heavyweight championships, 2 in Saudi Arabia, and also the big card in Abu Dhabi as well. Greed. If you are about legacy, if you want to be undisputed, then you take the fight. Oh, so you're going to get 50 or 60 million instead of the 80 or 100 or 125 million that you asked for. Fuck me.
Wow. This is the guy who created the market for greed. Gordon Gecko style. Yeah, fuck it. Look at that. Look at his hair. Austin, I know I've not got any room to talk.
I mean,
if we because I'm follically challenged. But Eddie, you need to go and get that hair seen to me, mate, because I can see right through your fucking dome, mate.
You know, if we didn't know his background, I mean, honestly, that was a pretty fair statement. But yeah, bullshit.
But the thing is, Matt, he's created the greed is good.
I know.
That's what make a fucking pound now, mate. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? The guy's a fucking fraud. Fuck off with the sport.
This is a guy that tried to buy fighters to leave the PBC and ended up paying people like Tevin Farmer millions of dollars. Exactly, yeah. Who did he have a one-fight deal with again? Mikey Garcia. Paid him about 9 million quid or something like that. And he's talking about fucking greed. The biggest amusing thing is when he goes, Tyson Fury, you're not the draw you think you are. This is Tyson Fury, who did about 70,000 tickets at Tottenham in December when it was like -4 against Derek Chisora. And you've got Anthony Joshua struggling to sell out the O2 against Jermaine Franklin. So whilst Fury may well want too much money, we all know who the big draw is.
I thought it was brilliant of Eddie to call out Tyson Fury about, you know, fighting for free and giving away all his money to charity. It's almost as if he's the type of guy who wouldn't promise a load of free tickets to NHS workers during lockdown and then not give them to him. You know what I mean?
And give the usual tax write-off, $5,000 charity check to some fucking boxing club that's on its arse. But Eddie, who could maybe write $100,000 check, only writes out 5,000. It's a nice wee tax write-off for the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, the tax year's coming to an end in 3 weeks, so expect a bit more kind of charity outlay coming from Matchroom soon, I would imagine.
Get your Eddie Hearn action figure dolls. That's what I say, Andy. No easy fights.
Listen, mate, they're all at it these days. I see. I was watching Khalid Plant against Benavidez. You know what do you call that thing on Showtime?
All access.
All access. I see Khalid Plant's even got his own fucking action doll as well. So it seems to be the in thing these days.
Yeah, get the vibrator out.
Boxing Asylum action dolls coming to a fucking town.
Can you imagine it, man?
It's like the old A-team ones. Do you remember the fucking?
I pay the fool to put on my jewelry.
Oh, they could. You could press the belly, Andy, and it could come up with little phrases. Suck, do, fuck, do, look over that.
Oz's goes absolute disgrace.
Ozzy going massive. He's fucking massive, mate. Eddie said, Eddie giving it the banter for like strawberries. Half time, tea time, anytime. You know, strawberries, get them here, half punnet, no problem at all. Half time, tea time, anytime. You lady have different gravy. then you got Big John saying, I said Chinese gravy though, baby.
Well, I was going to say, Big John's had just come with a button and thinking it can be a complimentary pack of curry sauce or something like that.
Big A in the chat there, it's Khalid Plant's action figure, the Wigatron.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Best one for you, Rob. Joe McCann, evidence-based investigation.
Rob says Jerry McCann's and everything's based on investigation.
Tell you, they're up to fucking, they know something.
This is fucking outrageous.
Oh,
the
dear.
guard dog gets a stiffy when kids play with him. Holy fuck, man. What the fuck?
Oh, there's Javonta turning up
Oh,
late.
mate.
There's an action doll for you, Rob.
He was doing his bit for LGBTQ, eh? Wasn't he?
He was
Fucking hell.
he came up with a Michael Kors man purse and a kind of a. Do you know? Remember when Floyd went through his dressing like the Golden Girls phrase? Javante kind of looks like Sophia from the Golden Girls now, don't he? Like she's coming out in her dressing gown.
No, Rob,
Fucking.
I think this is something even more subtly brilliant. He has found a way to both simultaneously dress as the pimp and the hoe.
Yeah, it's pimps and hoes night. He's coming. His partner can't make it. He's coming to the two of them. I don't know. Like it's mad to think a fella dressed like that could absolutely fucking turn the lights out of anybody else in that picture, in it. Like fucking hell. What is he wearing?
Like getting your ass kicked by RuPaul.
I'm really looking forward to this one. Like, I cannot
Me
wait.
too. Garcia handled him well, I thought, at the press conference, by the way. He handled himself well. He was like, he's like, shut up, you had a purse on yesterday.
Looking forward to it, Steve. I'm actually going to training camp for this. I'm going to be staying up for it.
Are you?
Right.
I might stay up for this actually.
I'm staying up for this. I'm up for this one 100%.
I haven't
I
stayed
wake
up
up
for
at
one
7 a.m.
since Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders was the last one, and John
Aye.
Ruiz, Chris Ariola accidentally
Tyson
stayed up for
Fury
that
as well, the
World Cup.
three, possibly, no?
I'm
No, I didn't
afraid.
stay up for that.
I'm excited too. I'm just afraid for to tell you guys the other two legs I need in my parlay long term to win, because I got it with Tszyu, but I think you guys will make fun of me. And
No, Garcia's live dog in the fight.
I avoided that one, but I took Benavidez and Robesi Ramirez, and I was able to get about 2-1 with Tszyu in that one. I got it. Yeah, I think that Benavidez is going to beat the shit out of him, and I got Garcia too. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's going to be a good fight. Garcia's going to smoke his ass. He's going to make him look like a hoe. Actually,
No chance.
Davis isn't right in the head. You saw him in that wheelchair, and he's asking for all these concessions. There's something he doesn't like about this fight.
Well, he's took it, so he must like it, all right?
You think Garcia's going to beat him?
Yes.
I wouldn't. Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, obviously, but I'd be surprised.
You don't think that Garcia can do more with a bait short jab than fucking Rolly did?
Garcia's chin is hung out there like a porn star's cock. It's just there to be fucking hit on, man. I'm telling you, it's going to get checked.
I tell you, I don't know. I would have said the popular consensus would be tanked by knockout, but if, like Maddie's saying, Rolly did show something in the fight. Now, I know that's a fucking stupid terminology, the blueprint and all, because he got knocked out, and Garcia does hang his chin up, but the big left hook, the height difference, if you could get him in clinches, lay on his neck, pull him down, hit him to the body, I think Tank's fucking real vulnerabilities to the body, by the way. So, anyway, we'll fucking discuss it when it's not belly with the week sometime.
Yeah, this isn't funny. Damn it.
Yeah, well, that belly's funny. Rob might be right about him being vulnerable to the body. Look at him.
He's wearing a pair of Spanx there, and he's gone to Adrian Broner training camp.
He's wearing a girl. That's what he's doing.
It looks like one of them before and after somebody goes to liposuctions.
He's loving life. Maybe he could fight the winner of these boys. O2 Arena, London, 1st of April. April Fool.
What is this?
Hossein Akdemir against Peter Kadiru.
Oh, that was the guy I was keeping an eye on.
AJ Undercard, there you are.
German heavyweight, Peter Kadiru, mate.
Is this a legit fight?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It looks legit to me. He's got
Is that a COVID mask
on his arm. Yeah,
Dude,
COVID mask.
Matty.
FA Jagba tattooed on his arm.
Matty, if this is on the prediction league, I'm taking Kadiru on points, mate. Just let me tell you right now.
All right, yeah. I'll have to
I don't know
consider
whether it was a COVID mask or a tattoo of a Baphomet on his fucking chest there.
The Matrix podcast.
There we go.
There we go. It's coming on. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. The poster looks legit though, Andy, doesn't it?
Oh, aye. And obviously, Peter Kadiru is usually the name fighter, so he should be number one.
Yeah, you would think so.
Is it the same cunt just doing all boxing posters? Because they're all fucking terrible.
Poverty.
Don King, innit? Well, they are heavyweights, so there you go. Anyway, a shout out to the nutter who picked up on this one. Face off, Rhiannon Dixon against Vicky Wilkinson. I can't remember who said fair play to Rhiannon fighting her ma.
It was Ozzy.
It was me. I said that.
Is that you? Someone said it in the nutters group as well.
It was Ozzy. What's his
Yeah,
brilliant.
So she's boxing her mum.
Well, she would have learned a lot from that fight based on that face.
Looks well, does Rhiannon? That looks like a career we could follow, Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Looks like
she's
looks like
incredibly
a
powerful legs.
2 new
That
hires.
T-shirt she's got, that top looks like belongs in the 80s. To be fair, looks like your old Adidas tops. You know what I'm talking about? They're lacy.
Rob doing his best Gad impression there, talking about Rhiannon.
But doesn't she though, Ozzy?
She looks like she's about to fucking ask somebody outside the off license to buy her a flag and a cider so she can go drinking in the fields with her mates, doesn't she?
Well, her mum could maybe go and get it for her.
Here, old fella, she's going to Eddie. Here, old fella, give us a fucking go and get us a flag, will you?
Eduardo might be setting his sights on Rhiannon.
Well, look where his hands are placed.
Well, yeah, all things. If things with Sky are progressing.
Well, he could be trying to go down the David Hay route and look at squad rotation. And I think it's something that we all need to explore a little bit more. You need replacement, you need squad depth. What if one is in a bad mood? What if one is killed in a horrible fire? You know what I mean? You don't know what the fuck is ahead of you. You need to have fucking
give us a
options.
lot of thought, Rob.
Contingency plan. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Butler. He's thrown in a $4.99. Plenty of thought going on there. Thank you very much, Chris. Belly of the week. He's enjoying it. The lads are having a good laugh. Here's Isaac Warrior Low jumping in on the Gary Lineker situation. Speak out, hashtag Gary. Lineker, Shearer, the world's greatest people. I stand by what he says, and that's it. You know what?
Gary Lineker's one of the world's greatest people. Holy shit, man.
I actually agree with Isaac Lowe if you just straighten out the sentence.
He's getting there, though. He's getting there. You know, in fairness to him, that's fucking pretty legendary.
True story,
I
right?
almost know what he's saying.
I graduated from De Montfort University back in 2008, right? So I went in to get my gong and I had the fucking slate hat on and all that stuff, type of shite, right? I'm sitting there like that. And who gets the honorary doctor of letters? Gary Jugs Lineker. I swear to God, I wanted to set fire to the fucking place, by the way. I was literally like within punching distance for the cunt. I could have fucking sorted this all out. But...
Oh, shout out to Isaac. There he is, Rob. David Hay, we experienced an unexpected opening in our team. But the reinvigorating atmosphere at the SXM Festival ensures that we'll soon have a full roster.
I'm telling you, David Hay's putting Vaseline on his helmet, by the way. It must be.
I love him, man. He's my favourite fighter of all time. I swear to God, I used to hate him and now I love him. He's brilliant. I wonder, does he send him fucking all like for a warm-up before they fucking get warmed up there, will you? You're coming on.
Next.
Here, Una Healy's pulled her hamstring. Come on, will you? We need you.
Power through it, sweetheart. Power through it.
Rob is the physio.
Please.
He's investigating. He's like, nothing wrong with you.
I'm tapping him on the back and all on the sideline when they're going on. Get in there.
Aye. Rob's like, just let me pull my thermometer out here. Just let me check you myself.
Stuck in from the first minute. Don't fucking.
Let me get my pertimeter out here and check your dampness levels.
Whoop that ass boxing is back, baby.
Whoop that ass bare knuckle boxing, May the 6th, Tijuana, Mexico.
Oh
We've got Miguel Puente against Cody Sons. And then we've got
me, man. Look at Miguel Puente.
Look at Destiny Yarbrough.
Looks like he belongs to the fucking Hells Angels, that Cody Sons.
Joshua Simpson. There you are. Livestreamers.com, boys. Get on it.
Miguel Puente looks like he's just after getting off fucking death row to take this fight for his fucking freedom, don't he? Whoop that ass, bare knuckle boxing. Tijuana, Mexico. Well, nothing could go wrong. That's what I think about that. Seems like it's going to be a pretty safe event for everybody involved. Is that fucking Repo Rodney again?
That's what I was wondering. Who is that?
That's Repo Rick from Whoop That Ass Boxing, man. He's fucking his reach is stretching to Mexico. Well, look, listen, be careful, Repo. Be careful, pal.
Yeah, he's getting
Holy
stuck
sons.
Usyk, you and your team are worth 30%. Tyson Fury hits back at Alexander Usyk over recent negotiations for a fight between the pair. Do you agree? Well, you never know. It could turn up on DAZN. DAZN CEO Joseph Markowski has given an open invitation to all promoters. PBC, Top Rank, TGB, Lou DiBella to promote on their platform with no obligation or commitment. Getting a bit desperate there, the old homeless hobbit.
They're trying to break the barriers between promoters and networks. All right, mate. Of course you are. You're trying to take them all out. You were trying to fucking you were writing their fucking obituaries fucking when you launched, and now you want to work with all of them. Brilliant. Things you love to see.
Oh dear. What else have we got? Oh, there's Fury again. Usyk tweeted out, Andy Fury, you talk about greatness in boxing. At the same time, you say, give me a lot of money. Greatness in boxing is not determined by money. Greatness comes from a victorious path. You say that I avoid you, although I never have. In fact, I've even come to you. I'm ready to box with you, even without any prize money. Yeah.
Would they all
I wouldn't go that far
to the
say that I
homeless. Give it
believe
to the
that.
homeless.
But I
fuck
think
off, man, or else get into the super chats with your fucking fight prices, or else shut the fuck up. We're not getting any of this money. None of us know what the fucking ins and outs of the fights are. Yous are not fighting for no money. Like Fury, like I can't believe people are like, oh, Tyson Fury is saying that he actually wants money, but he said before he would fight for free. Did anyone fucking believe
So
Tyson
did
Fury
Joshua.
would fight
Joshua
for
said the
fucking
same
free?
thing.
Jesus Christ, or that he gave the fucking money. That Tyson Fury's Mary Poppins is he flies into the ring on an umbrella, gives all his money away, and fucking does it, fights for nothing. Fuck
He's
off,
gonna
will you?
fight 5 times this year, and so he can fucking end depression in the UK.
Yeah, fuck off. Like, will you? Fuck's sake, what's wrong with you? Like, have a fucking bridge I can sell you. Jesus.
There's Chucku sliding in. Ricky Gravale has been doing the Lord's work during the week, by the way, on Twitter. Someone was talking about legacy, and Steve Bunn said, legacy, what decade are you in? It's money, and it's been money for a long, long time. It is always money. Don't act shocked, idiots. And Sven says 60-40 to the winner is very fair. Just shows how confident he is against the middleweight. Bunn says, Sven, you've seen that contract, have you? Seen the projected totals? And then Rick Gravale jumped in, and Bunsey was slagging off legacy. And he said a year ago, leaving for the fight now, legacy and history and revenge and respect and pride. The underdog fights a nation. All the very best to both. It's been a privilege this week working with the boxers. A contradiction from Bunsey, no less.
Wouldn't be like him. How did he find that?
Unrivaled work. He's a character in your Bunsey. I love the way he talks down Matty to people on Twitter. He's like, get there with the program, idiots, losers.
He should just stick to what he's good at, Steve. Black history.
Black history month, yeah.
Oh dear. Dr. FMG sticking to what he's good at here with $7.99 Australian dollars there, throwing it in.
Come on,
percent of the purse from the doctor.
Like he's throwing it in like Danny Young.
Danny Young.
Legendary.
Hey, Danny Young hasn't sent any messages for a while. I wonder what he's up to now.
Balls deep.
Plowing his wife.
It might be. Balls deep.
Well, he's already got 2 kids, man. He's fucking need to lay off a bit.
No.
You got to have more than 2.1
What's this?
kids or more.
What's this? A different type of trouble?
Population.
Yep, it's all going off. Andy, that was you getting stuck in on Chris Lloyd there.
Who, me?
Well, you tagged me in. You tagged me in.
Look at that, man, baby.
He's back. He's
back. He's back. Drop his comment just now so I can just point out to his feet. See these helmets that go about here with fucking, I don't know if it's got ankle socks or whatever that, but and they go about with like short trousers. It just looks weird. Looks like a fucking fiend. That's what it looks like. Looks like that school teacher actually who's been up to no good.
Looks like a reverse triple to me. That's what I think. That's what it looks like.
I think Big Eddie is the top man in that relationship. Like he's plowing them like a fucking locomotive.
You know, Rob, I'd have to think about the math on this, but I think there'd be a way to make this airtight.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Oh, it's all kicking off at the zone for now. Thomas Smith came in on Nuthouse Boxing and nuthousepodcast@gmail.com. He said, hi, lads. Was listening to the Beyond Boxing podcast, episode 148 today. And at 43 minutes, 39 seconds in, while dissecting the Conor Ben Pierce Morgan interview, an ad comes on for Ancient Aliens type. Not so BS, he says. Terry then goes on to explain his theories about advanced ancient civilizations. It's
Sounds
beautiful.
like something I can get down with this podcast.
I know.
I
don't see the problem here. He says, I know it's not the done thing to slag off other podcasts, but it's such a peach. I thought you'd appreciate it.
Hey, screw you, Tom.
I think I might listen to that, Rob. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm all about an ancient civilization. It's fucking... Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's not fucking throw it out straight away before we hear what he has to say.
Rob, I'll actually say something to agree with you. Is the whatever the Aramaic word I believe for Genesis, that the translation, it actually means rebirth and not birth. So interesting thought on the turns of the world.
There you go, all the Phil Collins fans out there.
There you go.
Don't bring Phil Collins into this. You just fucking ruined it for me. Fuck me. I hate Genesis. I fucking hate Phil Collins. Fuck me. That's terrible fucking music. Fuck that. Fuck Peter Gabriel. Just fucking awful.
Don't like a bit of Easy Lover, though.
No. Jesus, fuck.
Started off with Unieski Gonzalez, ended up with the Bible. You never know where you're going to go on the podcast episode 514.
Oh, fuck off. Who's doing these?
Andy, I think you threw this one in, didn't you? The heavyweight supremacy.
Aye, I seen that WBC. Aye, fucking Wilder would absolutely evacuate his bowels, man. When Liston looked at him, for prime, Liston absolutely destroys him. That jab, man, would fucking punch holes.
If Wilder could touch him, I mean, anything could happen. But you'd have to think that Liston would be finding a way to get inside and catch him with something fucking kind of hard and loopy in there.
Sonny Liston is one of the most disrespected fighters, both out the ring and outside the ring, even when he was active, right? But see his peak, motherfucker could put punches together and he could punch. There's a reason why no many guys went past 1 or 2 rounds with him, especially like Floyd Patterson. That chinny or no, that guy could fucking punch, and that jab. Shit, man, I'm talking about one of the greatest jabs of all time. Lewis, levels type of fucking jab in here, by the way.
As far as fighters with fluidity in what they did, kind of the line would be going from Lewis to Liston to Ali. I mean that was kind of a little bit of athleticism in there.
I tell you what, right? Every time I hear fucking Sonny Liston's name, it makes me think of me dad, because my dad was a Rocky Marciano stan. Love Marciano. Marciano was the greatest heavyweight of all time. Jack Dempsey's the greatest, Marciano's second greatest, right? There's 2 favorites. And there's this part in a Rocky Marciano biography where he's at a radio station and he says to Sonny Liston, I think I would have beat you. And Sonny was like, no, you're a bum. You couldn't carry my jacket or something. And then Rocky says, get your gear. But when my dad's telling the story, he starts doing the voices as if he was there. He's like, hey, geez, Sonny, you're a big guy. And Rocky Marciano said to him, get your gear. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? You just right there above me. Might not be where I went down at all.
High barbershop stuff, this.
LDBC have even went in them big fucking owl this week as well.
Yeah, well, we are LDBC UK over here, absolutely. There's Sunday morning mood. Just chilling, Andy, on the ropes. old
mate, that is a meme for the ages, isn't it? Tszyu like, you're going to wake up any time, mate, to a punch game or in a right uppercut. Maybe even a body shot for a good measure there. And there's Rob, I was going to call her something else, but there's Rob woman in the background there, just over the right shoulder of Timmy Tszyu. No, babe! No, babe! And I gave it Robin that. I think Tony Harris is getting her the good news with the Biff.
Well, he was for the moment, but that fucking that ship's about to sail, I think. With the champ, don't he?
And he's snoozing on a Sunday afternoon.
I'll tell you what, we were talking earlier, Andy, about Tszyu doing the old "what's my motherfucking name?" Was that his bird who jumped into the interview? She seems like a touch of class, doesn't she? What's his motherfucking name? Did you see her as well?
All I'm going to say, Steve, is the Australian gals are lucky that they're attractive.
Yeah. But you need to remember, actually, Matty, that their ancestors went out there in fucking handcuffs, so they're a bit mental,
Oh yeah, I know. And then there's a bunch of Greeks out there too, so everything's just fucked up.
He looks like the meme of fucking Martin Lawrence out of the TV show Martin when he fought Tommy Hearns, don't he, when he's hanging out the ropes?
Oh dear. Right, those are all the ones I've got. I did actually get one sent in from Mikey Thompson. Let's see if I can find it. Laura Woods on DAZN. Let's see what's
that woman's everywhere now, eh? She's got fucking every job gone.
Yeah, with Laura.
Sammy, when you've got a minute, I'm going to go through that one more time.
So that'll be us getting blocked on this episode of the Zone content.
Oh, right enough, yeah. Thanks, Mikey. Well, it's on his laptop, so hopefully not. But yeah, she's practicing her lines, but that's what happens. Do you not wonder about, Matty, before the pod, just practicing your lines in front of the mirror, maybe on the mirror?
Too busy fucking snorting them, exactly. On the mirror.
I usually eat lunch and watch some of the fights. I try to do something productive-ish.
Yeah. Okay, that's all the ones I've got. Matty, anything productive in the Belly of the Week region for you this week?
I did have one, and I told you in the group to bring it up, and you didn't because you suck.
Oh, When was that mixed in with the 1,400 messages over the weekend?
Yeah, but you saw him back to back in like the last 3 hours of the morning too.
Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. Go on, tell us then.
So, sorry that there's no visual for this one, but there is. Well, now I got to find. Oh wait, I just got it on my gallery. That's right. Jesus, see, this is what you do to me. My God, go to someone else real quick, please.
Oh, okay. Andy, anything from you, please?
Yeah, just for that one for that French judge here on the two cards. The McCollum McGowan fight and the Tony Yoka fight. That judge, you call him again? It's a small Tszyu, I think.
Was that the same judge who done both of them decisions?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I thought that's what you were saying earlier. No way, he's a scumbag then.
Yeah, so keep an eye on him for proper up on any future cards. One that's kind of slipped past is Kevin Mitchell coming out here with the comments on the Conor Ben situation, saying as if he's cheated, then we've all cheated. But sounding like he's a punch-drunk maniac. So I'm surprised that interview's still there, actually, because I said to Rob that about someone else off air a couple of weeks ago. That guy's sounding pretty bad, and Kevin Mitchell's sounding the same here. So I'm not the best person to be speaking to. And one for Conor Ben. Now, Conor Ben's coming out here saying is that, my pride. I think it came out on Monday. It says my pride. The way they've dealt with this situation stops me complying with the British Boxing Board of Control. I don't have to be licensed by the board. I don't plan on fighting them Britain anytime soon. But at the same time, he's also saying that he's suing the board. Now, he's got a 270-page document that apparently can clear his name with the British Boxing Board of Control, but he doesn't present it to them. But he's also going to sue the board. Now, I'm assuming that if he's suing the board, that document is going to be part of his defence. So guess who gets to see that document as part of the defence by way of legal seen documents? The Board of Control. So they'll get the documents at the end of the day. So I think Ben's just kind of like having a tantrum. But at the end of the day, is what he's coming out here. It's all legal advice, legal talk that he's talking here, consultants, services, advice, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, this guy has got Bentleys, bitches, Benjamins, big houses, and he's got a lifestyle to fucking live. He's also got lawyers to fucking pay for as well, right, to fight his cause here, and he's not helping himself. So this is the reason why he's going to fight Pacheco in Dubai. So I'm going to put Conor Ben in here just because the whole way this is getting handled, and to be honest, he's got the best lawyer here dealing with his case, and they still cannot drive a bus through the fucking chain of custody here.
It's fucking driving me mad. It's driving me mad. I didn't even want to spend another week fucking talking about this, but I tell you what, right? You know what, that Piers Morgan interview, he came across like a fella that's after getting caught red-handed cheating on his bird, right? And he's like, listen, I wasn't with her. Like, my mate, the WBC, Derek, he's going to tell you, I wasn't with her. Look, was I with her? No, he wasn't with her. Well, show me your phone. Look at my pride. I can't let you. I'd rather rip up my marriage license than give you my phone. Like, I can't let you see my phone. It would exonerate me, of course, because I haven't texted this bitch, but I just can't let you see my phone. It's a fucking shambles. Like, it's Eddie wasn't advising him. He want to start advising him and advise him to stay out of the fucking public, keep his head low, and shut the fuck up. He's making himself look like a moron. He's guilty as fuck. We don't need Peter Hyatt to fucking statement analyze him. He looks guilty, shifting in the chair, talking about his mental. Like, give me a fucking break, man. Give me a break. And like, I'm not saying his mental health is not. It probably has deteriorated because of what he put himself through. But this fucking chlorophene, fucking contamination, fucking is not flying with anybody. And he's put himself. He's desperate to write the public opinion on him. He's desperate to right the wrongs and says that he's guilty in the court of fucking public opinion. Well, he's done himself no fucking favors with that interview because absolutely nobody is buying that shit. Piers Morgan wasn't buying that, and he didn't even go hard on him. He wasn't buying it. Nobody's buying it. Like, just take your fucking ban and shut the fuck up, man. You're nobody, like, in the sport. Absolute fucking nobody. Hasn't beaten anyone. Beat up on the ghost of fellas, trading off his dad's name. Fellas in the fucking, there's fellas in gyms all over fucking the UK and America that are batter him. It's a joke that he's even getting this much fucking bandwidth. Like,
we'll not be talking about it, Rob. I'll tell you that much.
I haven't shut up about him for fucking 2 months. I haven't. He's winding me up more every time I see his fucking mustache.
Yeah, but who is though, mate? Nobody's winding you up. He's winding me up. He's winding a few others up as well because his entitlement, just his blasé attitude. Just own what you did. That you're a cheat. You took the drugs and you got caught. It's just that simple. Nobody's buying your egg excuse. It's just every comment you see, nobody's buying it. Anybody that says, "Oh, head up, champ," and all that type of stuff, they're fucking paid trolls. Just like they want a fucking retweet off you. The real people who are telling you straight, just own it up.
And
Take
nobody's
your
fucking calling. It's like the fucking mainstream media or something. Like it's like the sleight of hand all the time. It's like, oh, COVID, fucking blah blah blah, and you're like, what? And then we're on to the next thing. It's like the WBC have exonerated him because of elevated egg consumption. He's like, I didn't take any eggs, and we're like, well, what the fuck are they saying that for then? Like, let's ask that question. Mauricio Suleiman, why are you saying there's elevated fucking egg consumption when this cunt's saying that you don't eat eggs, and he's saying that the testing is wrong? I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's what Mauricio Suleiman said. So, you know what I mean? We're in a fucking shitty position. We just have to keep talking about this bullshit until it goes away. But, like, imagine him doing a Piers Morgan interview and setting himself up for failure like that and bringing his dad with him. Well, look, I didn't do it when my dad's here, and he believes me, so piss off.
There we are. Any more from you, Andy, please?
Not me.
Okay. Matty, did you remember where you were again and what you were saying?
For everybody, my nomination is for everybody who doesn't have a Fight TV subscription, Steve, because tomorrow they won't be able to watch Wesapalooza with pro wrestling, live music, and beer. So joke's on you people.
Sorry, Matty, I did see this now you mention it. I thought it was a joke.
Is it free?
No, I pay $7.99 a month for Fight TV now.
Do you get everything under that price?
Yeah. So whatever they got. And there's random stuff on there that I didn't even notice. Like on Friday night, there was a card that I need to watch.
Pascal's on that card on that show next week, eh?
That had he's on. I think that might be on ESPN Plus. I could be wrong.
Next Thursday, no, I'm sure it's on Fight TV, mate.
But,
I'm sure.
But there was a fight card with Jose Luis Castillo Jr. On Fight TV on Friday, so I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. Seems there's a whole lot of random shit on.
We need to make him versus Campbell Hatton, don't we? That's the natural fight to make.
Fucking put it on Wesapalooza too.
Yeah, you're both right about the Canadian card. I think ESPN are showing it and Fight TV are showing it in the UK or something maybe.
There's old Canada.
No. Yeah, where's the Palooza, man? I've got some more information here, actually. It's at the Outpost Circuit Club in Kent, OH. I'm assuming that means Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, Matty. That's...
Yeah.
This was on the 17th of... It's already taken place on the 17th of September, 2022.
What? So they're just re-airing it on?
Yeah, they're just re-airing it.
Well, I feel robbed, Steve.
Looking for a refund on intense wrestling.
I was all souped up for Wesapalooza, and it has already occurred.
I'm going to find out who won and spoil it for you.
Paying $7.99 for the rerun there.
No, I'm paying $7.99 to watch fucking Lewis Ritson against O'Hara Davies from your side of the pond, and apparently Jose Luis Castillo Jr.
Get a fire stick, man, will you? Get a life.
Yeah.
Somebody has to help keep the sport going economically. Like, you guys do realize if nobody pays for the product, you're not going to have a product.
Just fucking let it die. Let it die.
Let it burn. You're paying for wrestling, not boxing.
Hell, Steve, I don't honestly know that I'm going to watch Wesapalooza tomorrow night. I just more thought it was funny.
You're paying on behalf of all of us, Matty. You're paying so we don't have to, and we love you for it. Right, any more? Rob, any nominations for you, please?
I hate you so much.
Ebony Bridges says that she could retire off of her money from OnlyFans, but she just likes bashing bitches.
That's like the most Australian thing fucking ever.
I could retire. I wouldn't even tell you the number, but I just love bashing bitches so much. I like fucking just retire, man. Take the fucking money around and get the fuck away with you. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with all these? She's in the top 0.01% of all creators on OnlyFans. You degenerate scumbags. What is the matter with you all?
And what percentile of OnlyFans, Rob? Repeat that.
0.01% of top creators on fucking after launching. She must be rolling in dough, man, and the fuckers are rolling in something else. The absolute fucking monsters. Who is doing this? The cat, yeah, it's just cat.
Well, I guess at least boxing will keep her in shape, because if she was a big fat blob, she might fucking pull like 0.1% of the OnlyFans.
That was a good one from Ebbs. I didn't catch that one, but there you go. The Ebbs group. The cult is strong. Okay, that's all the ones that I've got. Let's go through them quickly, and then we'll make our final decisions. So we had Javonta turning up looking like your man at the Fifth Element. We've got the Eddie Sex doll. we've got Fat Javonta. We've got the heavyweights. We've got Rhiannon against her mum. We've got Isaac getting stuck in there. We've got David Hay and his many women. We've got Whoop Dead Ass Bare Knuckle Boxing. Usyk and Fury. We've got Joe Markovsky. We've got Usyk again. We've got Bunsey going in on people. We've got the bosses in Liverpool. We've got Tom Smith with the Ancient Civilizations. We've got Wilder versus Liston. We've got Tony going for a snooze. And we've got Wezapalooza boxing plus Eddie and Laura Woods as well. Quite a strong week this week, Matty. Who are you going for, please?
Honestly, and I think I got to phrase it my own way. I think I have to give it to those people that are subscribed to Ebbs OnlyFans. Like, Jesus fucking God. What the fucking world is wrong with you fucking people that you spend such an inordinate amount of your fucking income on fucking titties? There's fucking titties all over the goddamn internet for fucking free.
Just go to Figueroa Sisters Instagram and fucking relax yourselves.
Yeah, there you go. See, Rob speaks from experience. There's other things you can do.
There's O'Moira.
Oof.
O'Moira for you. Okay, so we're going for Ebbs. For you, Matty.
No, not for Ebbs. For her fucking dickhead subscribers.
Okay, just
Let's
leave
make
them
that
alone.
clear. The dickhead subscribers.
Dickhead subscribers getting it, Andy. Who are you going for?
I'm going to go for the Haymaker. I expect him to end up looking like fucking Freddie Mercury before the end. And he's not going to be singing Who Wants to Live Forever by, I can tell you that right now. It's going to be like Who Wants It All and I Want It Now. Jesus Christ, look at that, man. Look at that.
Could we see
fucking legend?
Seeing as he's got Una Healy from the Saturdays, could we potentially see a reintroduction of Rita Ora into the trouble? This would fucking be like bringing in a new contestant into Love Island halfway through the
man, listen, David Hayes lost a marriage to that broad. So I think if he wants to keep these five, I think he should keep Rita Ora to the
That's what I'm saying. We need a bit of drama. We need a bit of fucking. We need to test the trouble, Andy. Do you know what I mean? Have to see, fucking test the boundaries of the trouble.
Give ourselves a shout.
It's a David Hayram.
Harima. David.
I love the way he calls him a team as well. Like he's starting his own little cult, his own little Jim Jones sex cult, isn't he? Like with vacancies in the team. Auditions, tryouts are starting in the next 6 weeks. Get ready for pre-season. It's going to be a fucking big time for you. A lot of opportunities present themselves as we expand the squad.
Running drills today.
Expand their fucking glory holes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're pretty clear what you're saying, Andy. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I think we got it, Andy.
God, I think you finally found it has something to do with this fucked up toe.
You know what I'm saying? He said.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Okay, so one for the Haymaker, one for the Ebbs Collective. Rob, who are you going for, please?
I just think we should just be giving awards to the Haymaker, really. Do you know what I mean? Look at fucking who really won between Bellew and the Haymaker, right? Yeah, the Haymaker lost 2 fights to Tony Bellew, but last night he was there pulling fucking bitches off the fucking bench to replace other ones when Tony Bellew was siding with Eddie Hearn and the Usyk fucking Tyson Fury. You gotta keep your job, Tony, right? You were on the screens for long enough, and now you're on the, I don't know what the fuck, the app, people's phones or whatever, but he was out straight away. Tyson Fury's a disgrace. Usyk is going to win. 70-30 is too much. Tyson's a hypocrite. You're going to keep your job, man. He has you there in the zone, right? You don't have to fucking jump out in defense of Edward, even egg, every week. So fucking, yeah, the Haymaker's the real winner. So we should just give him an award just for having it.
Super stuff. Congratulations, Haymaker. You are the Bellew of the Week winner for episode 514. It would be remiss of me not to give our super chatters a shout out before we disappear. Vicky Graville slipped in and slipped out again with a $5. Thank you to you, Richard. Danny Young as well threw a $5 in. He's 10 cans of Red Stripe in. Chris Butler threw some money in too, and so did the Dr. FMG. Was that all of them, Matty? I thought we had 5 for some reason, but my mathematical skills aren't as on the ball as David Hayes. So
you might be right, but I think it was 4. And if we find otherwise, we'll certainly rectify it next week because we love you all and your contributions.
Yep, absolutely well said, Matty. We will probably not rectify it next week, but we love you all and your contributions.
Hashtag
listeners.
Unrivaled work. Fuck the listeners. We love you all. Thank you for joining us. Matty will be back in the red hot seat for episode 515. Thank you to Ozzy Smith. Nothing from him, but he's been here from the start. Wrapping up, Kelly jumped on as well. So did Andy. And Matty, I've been Steve Wellings. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out and join us over at patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. If you want to join the Nutters group, we love you all. See you same time, same place next week, and goodbye.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to move!
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep. You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Rumple fucking Stiltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7-year ain't it? 7-year ain't it? I won't fucking smash. Fuck you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love Boxing Asylum. It's as simple as that.